LoveLore Library. Chapter 585. Today was a big day for Provincial Capital University. The exchange students from the St. Medical Institute had arrived at Provincial Capital International Airport an hour ago. The students held up banners and flags at the entrance of Provincial Capital University. They placed baskets of flowers and scattered colorful confetti to welcome the arrival of the exchange students. Standing at the forefront of the crowd was a gray-haired old man. The old man was dressed in a gray tang suit, and he was in high spirits. A pair of deep old eyes flickered as he stared at the opposite street. The old man's name was Wang Zhonghua, and he was the principal of Kyoto University. Two old men stood behind Wang Zhonghua. One of them was the dean of Provincial Capital University Medical College, Lu Feng, and the other was a Chinese medicine professor and lecturer, Lin Qingyuan. When Qin Feng competed with Xiao Lei to see if Chinese medicine was better or Western medicine was better, Lin Qingyuan suffered a heart attack. Qin Feng used the 5 elements acupuncture technique to save him. Behind them were some associate professors and senior lecturers from the medical school. Since the people who came were from the St. Medical Institute in the United States, and the main purpose of the exchange was medical skills, the teachers from the Provincial Capital University who came out to welcome them were almost all from the medical school. Seeing that there were no cars on the opposite street, Dean Wang Zhonghua turned to look at Lu Feng and Lin Qingyuan with a grave expression in his eyes. "Dean Lu, Professor Lin, are you guys confident that the St. Medical Institute of the United States will visit our university out of the blue?" Lu Feng and Lin Qingyuan knew what the principal was asking. Lu Feng shook his head and sighed without saying a word. Ever since the medical college's divine physician, Li Xingtian, went missing 5 years ago, the flourishing Chinese medicine faculty had been on the decline. They could not find any outstanding students or teachers. How could they exchange medical skills with the world's top medical college, the St. Medical Institute? Wouldn't that be a slap in the face? Lin Qingyuan frowned. A few moments later, Elder Lin's eyes lit up again, but it soon dimmed. The principal, Wang Zhonghua, noticed the change in Lin Qingyuan's expression. He asked, "Professor Lin, do you have any ideas?" Lin Qingyuan shook his head and said, "There's a Chinese medicine lecturer called Qin Feng who's a talent. I'm in awe of his acupuncture skills at such a young age. He's a real expert who can use the needle manipulation technique, but," at this point, Lin Qingyuan sighed. He didn't have to continue because Wang Zhonghua and Lu Feng knew very well that the entire Provincial Capital University was in an uproar because of the dismissal of a teacher from the medical college. First, the medical college students went on strike. Then, the students' parents came to the university to protest. In the end, the university was under too much pressure, so they took the initiative to revoke the resignation. They wanted to bring Qin Feng back to the university to teach again, but they realized that nobody could find Qin Feng. Now, the medical school students had calmed down, and the protests and strikes had eased up a lot. However, because of Qin Feng's departure, the medical school students looked down on the other teachers. Even when Professor Lin Qingyuan went to teach them, the students were listless. The current Kyoto University's medical school was like a pool of stagnant water. Faced with the arrival of the St. Medical Institute in the United States, the principal and several professors and deans of the medical school were worried to death. "They're here, they're here. The exchange students from St. Medical Institute are here," someone in the crowd suddenly exclaimed. Everyone turned to look at the opposite side of the street. Sure enough, a bus was slowly approaching Kyoto University. The bus finally stopped at the entrance of the university. First, a few blonde and blue-eyed foreign women alighted from the bus. Based on their age and attire, they should be the secretaries and assistants of the exchange students. After the long-legged beauties alighted from the bus, they lined up on both sides of the bus door. They held their folders in their hands and waited quietly for the important person to alight. A white-haired old man slowly got out of the car. He was dressed in a snow-white suit and looked very spirited. Behind the old man were several middle-aged men. They were probably the teachers' representatives who had come for the exchange. Behind them were 5 students in the St. Medical Institute's uniform. When the students from Provincial Capital University saw the 5 students alighting from the bus, they grumbled, "Why are the men's uniforms small suits? Why are they so handsome? Why are the women's uniforms sailor outfits? Our university needs to change too." The white-haired old man who had just alighted from the bus heard the students' complaints. He staggered and almost fell. He shook his head inwardly as he looked at the frivolous and impatient students in front of him. It was obvious that he was very disappointed with the students from Provincial Capital University. Students of this level are not worthy of the exchange students from St. Medical Institute. I think they are quite good at flirting with girls. After the 5 students from the St. Medical Institute got off the bus, they looked around curiously. There were 4 boys and 1 girl. They were the elites among the top students of the St. Medical Institute. On the surface, it seemed like a simple exchange. However, no one wanted to embarrass their university during the exchange. Naturally, they invited capable students and teachers to bring glory to the university. A blond boy among the students looked at the bespectacled man beside him and asked, "Jack, is this the most famous university in China for Chinese medicine?" The bespectacled man's name was Jack. He looked around curiously and said in English, "It should be." "Owen, you can ask Avril. She has stayed in China for a period of time. She should know better than us." The 4 foreign boys' gazes fell on the girl standing behind them. The girl had snow-white skin, blue eyes, a high nose, and blonde curly hair that reached her shoulders. She was tall and well-proportioned. She was a rare foreign beauty. However, the beautiful girl's face was a little pale. She coughed from time to time as if she was sick. "This is the university that we came to exchange with. The university isn't just a medical institute. The school has other professional courses. 5 years ago, the university became famous because of a Chinese medicine divine physician named Li Xingtian. It was ranked in the top 5 among all the medical schools in China. However, it seems like the medical school of the university has declined." Avril's expression was calm, and her voice was ethereal and pleasant to the ear. The 4 foreign boys listened to Avril's introduction and their expressions became even more disdainful. One of them, a muscular man with dark skin, snorted, "If that's the case, why do we need to exchange knowledge with these incompetent people? It's an insult to our Western medicine." Standing next to the black brawny man was a man with the aura of a prince. He nodded and sneered. "Ha! I agree with Peter. This trip is simply a waste of our good lives. Willis, China has Chinese medicine. It's ancient and mysterious. Don't look down on this university. There must be an expert here." Avril reminded them. Chinese medicine. The 4 foreign students pronounced it in Chinese awkwardly. Willis, who had the aura of a prince, sneered, "I've heard of it before. It said that reading someone's face and taking their pulse can cure them. Who would believe such tricks to fool fools? Those are just Chinese people blowing their own trumpet and making things up." Willis had an arrogant look on his face. It was obvious that he didn't think much of Chinese medicine. The other 3 boys also had looks of contempt on their faces. Avril didn't explain further and stood at the side in silence. The 5 students whispered to each other in private, so no one else could hear them. At this time, the principal of the university, Wang Zhonghua, led a group of people to welcome them. They were shaking hands and greeting the teachers of the St. Medical Institute. The leader of the St. Medical Institute this time was a white-haired old man. He was the associate professor of the St. Medical Institute and was very famous in the field of Western medicine. Most of the seniors in the medical world had heard of his name. Professor Mike, I'm the principal of the university, Wang Zhonghua. The representatives of the university have been waiting for you for a long time. Welcome, everyone. Wang Zhonghua greeted Professor Mike first. Professor Mike had white hair and was old, but he was in good spirits. He shook Wang Zhonghua's hand and smiled. You're too kind, Principal Wang. I hope this exchange meeting will be a success. Because they knew that the representative from the St. Medical Institute would be coming to the university for an exchange half a month in advance, the university's leaders had already vacated a separate dormitory for the representative from the St. Medical Institute. After a simple exchange in English, Wang Zhonghua brought the representative to the student dormitory nearby. The environment of the student dormitory was pretty good, and it was specially cleaned. The representatives from the St. Medical Institute were quite satisfied with it. After the allocation of rooms, the teacher and student representatives went back to their respective rooms to rest. After the teacher representatives settled down, they went on a tour of the university with the lecturer's representative from the university. Avril and the other 4 student representatives greeted the teachers and went on their own activities. The 5 of them left the leaders' group and strolled around the campus of the university. As the representatives of the exchange students, they naturally wanted to show off their abilities and bring glory to the St. Medical Institute. After the 5 of them strolled around for a while, Willis, who had the temperament of a prince, suggested, "We don't have anything to do. It's too boring to continue strolling around. Besides, the university isn't much better than the St. Medical Institute. I think it's better to go to the medical college of the university. Maybe we can find some students and find out more about them." All right. I agree with Willis's suggestion. I think it's a good idea too. Then let's go now. The boys agreed to go to the medical college to find out more about the situation. Avril frowned slightly. Although she was not very happy about it, she couldn't leave the group alone since everyone was going. She had no choice but to follow the 4 of them to the medical college. After asking around, the 5 of them quickly found the medical college. There were 2 classes of students in the medical college. The second class was having a Marxist ideology and ethics class. The 4 foreigners stood at the door and listened for a long time. They couldn't understand what the teacher was teaching. Chapter 586. The only official reading site of Hedonist Sovereign was the Zongheng Chinese network. All other sites were pirated copies of the book. Very quickly, the 5 of them arrived at the entrance of Class 1. Provincial Capital University Medical College Class 1 was a nameless class a month ago. Due to the decline of the medical college, no one paid attention to the class and its students. However, after Qin Feng's arrival, the medical college Class 1 became famous. First, Qin Feng beat up the head of the 4 young masters of Provincial Capital University, Gao Tianyao. Then, Qin Feng performed a miraculous acupuncture technique and saved Professor Ling Qingyuan from a heart attack. Then, Qin Feng flirted with the ice goddess, Chang Axin. Then, he flirted with the beautiful students, Hua Yan and Qiao Shishir. Finally, the sexy beauty, Yan Wushuang, was flirted with by Qin Feng. Was this Qin Feng here to teach or pick up girls? Qin Feng's beastly behavior had aroused public outrage in the campus. Therefore, he was expelled. The medical college's Class 1 started a strike and a demonstration, and all kinds of joint letters and reports were sent. Too many things had happened in the medical college's Class 1 this month, and every one of them was earth-shattering. It was hard not to become famous. The Western medicine lecturer, Xiao Lei, was sitting on a stool at the podium of the medical college's Class 1. The huge podium blocked the area below his navel. Xiao Lei took off his shoes and socks, scratching his feet as he read from the textbook. Familiar faces sat below the lectern. Hua Yan sat in the first row, Xiao Shishir sat in the corner, basking in the sun. Ma Chao, the class bully who was subdued by Qin Feng, and Lu Jie, Qin Feng's follower, who sat in the last row. Almost all the students were there. Some of them were playing with their phones, some were sleeping on their desks, and most of them were holding their chins with their hands, staring blankly at Qin Feng. This was something that would never happen during Qin Feng's lecture. The students were all in high spirits during Qin Feng's lecture. They were afraid that they would not be able to keep up with Qin Feng's stupidity. The students of the medical college class 1 had tried their best to force the university to give in and withdraw their notice of Qin Feng's dismissal. However, Qin Feng was nowhere to be found. Not even Lu Jie and Chang Xian could contact him. They were at their wits' end. Ha! Is this the provincial capital university? Are you sure this isn't a memorial service? Willis, who had the aura of a prince, looked through the window at the situation in class 1 of the medical college. The corner of his mouth curled into a cold smile, and he looked extremely disappointed in provincial capital university. Sigh. Looks like we really came here for nothing. Why don't you give us a long vacation? Let's go to the beach for a vacation. Owen, who had golden curly hair, also had a look of disdain on his face. Black Pete rubbed his nose and said, "Just look at that teacher and you'll know what level these students are at. They're sitting on the podium with their feet crossed and reading. They're not even as good as us. They should just go home and herd cows. Trash, it's all trash." The bespectacled man, Jack, shook his head and said. Avril did not say a word as she watched her 4 companions mock Kyoto University's medical school. Willis, who had the air of a prince, suddenly laughed evilly and said to his companions, "Hee hee. Since we're already here, we can't just leave like that. We have to have some fun." The 3 boys were immediately interested. They smiled at Willis and asked, "What fun have you thought of? Hurry up and tell me." Willis's smile widened, and he continued, "This teacher's level is so low, let's go meet that teacher, let's show him what true strength is." "Ha, good idea, good idea. Let's go then. I can't wait to slap that teacher's face." Willis's suggestion was immediately approved by the other 3 boys. The 4 of them swaggered into the classroom. Avril did not say a word, but she followed the 4 of them into the classroom. Ahem. Students, are you in the wrong classroom? Xiao Lei was having a good time scratching his feet when a group of students suddenly entered the classroom. Xiao Lei was embarrassed. He quickly put on his shoes and glared at Willis and the others. The official time for the exchange meeting was tomorrow. The students from St. Medical Institute would be accommodated in the afternoon, and they would also visit and familiarize themselves with the geography and culture of Kyoto University. Therefore, when Willis and the others walked into the first class of the medical school, not only Xiao Lei was puzzled, but the listless students also sat up straight and looked at the 5 foreign students curiously. Most importantly, there was a top-grade foreign beauty among them. Willis, who had the temperament of a prince, was delighted when he saw the eyes of the entire class and the teacher were on him. He enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. "Hello, everyone. The 5 of us are representatives of the exchange students from St. Medical Institute. We just arrived at Kyoto University an hour ago, and since we have nothing to do, we decided to take a stroll around the medical school. We would like to listen to your courses. Is there a problem?" Willis spoke in Huaxiao language, but Xiao Lei could understand him. Oh, it's the students from St. Medical Institute in America. Quick, take a seat. Xiao Lei smiled like a wild chrysanthemum when he found out who Willis and the others were. Xiao Lei had long heard that the exchange students from St. Medical Institute would be coming to Kyoto University. A few days ago, Xiao Lei was selected to be the lecturer representative of Kyoto University. He even picked a student representative during class, but none of the students liked Xiao Lei, so no one was willing to entertain him. Later on, the incident of Qin Feng's expulsion became a big deal. After a thorough investigation, the university found out that Gao Tianyao and the vice dean of the medical institute, Gao Hai, had purposely expelled Qin Feng. Xiao Lei was also involved in the incident, so Gao Hai was demoted to the position of dean and Xiao Lei's qualification as a lecturer representative was revoked. Recently, Xiao Lei had been suppressing his resentment because his position as lecturer representative was revoked because of that brat Qin Feng's incident. When Xiao Lei saw that the exchange students from St. Medical Institute had come to him, he was overjoyed. Willis and the others looked at Xiao Lei with disdain when they saw him fawning over them. They ignored Xiao Lei and went to the empty seats at the back of the classroom and sat down. Xiao Lei was displeased that he was snubbed, but he pretended to be happy. He said with a smile, "The exchange meeting between the two universities will officially begin tomorrow. I didn't expect that the 5 student representatives of St. Medical Institute would come to my class this afternoon. It's obvious that they respect me and are interested in my teaching style. I'm really happy about this. I didn't expect that my name, Xiao Lei, would spread across the ocean to your St. Medical Institute." Xiao Lei's narcissism on the podium made the 5 exchange students want to vomit. More than 50 students from the medical institute stared at Xiao Lei with disdain. From their point of view, Willis and the others were obviously here to cause trouble. Not only did Xiao Lei not show them his power, but he even fawned over them. He was a traitor who worshipped foreign things. "Sir, please start your class." Jack had enough of Xiao Lei's narcissism. He pushed his glasses up and interrupted Xiao Lei. Xiao Lei also realized that he had gone overboard with his boasting. He smiled awkwardly and said, "Haha, all right. Since the students of St. Medical Institute can't wait to listen to my class, I'll start now." Avril and the other 4 students' mouths twitched. They resisted the urge to kick Xiao Lei away. Xiao Lei continued his narcissism for a while before he finally got down to business. He picked up the textbook and started his class. "We were talking about stroke. The main causes of this disease are cold, overwork, and bacterial infection. Due to poor blood flow, the nerves are temporarily damaged. The symptoms include mouth, eyes, and mouth tilt, headache, tinnitus, and so on. The treatment consists of acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine, but the effect is very slow. However, if it is treated with Western medicine, such as injections and medicine, the effect will be obvious, sir." "Do you always read from the textbook like this?" Willis suddenly stood up and interrupted Xiao Lei when he was halfway through his lecture. Xiao Lei did not understand what Willis meant. He was a little stunned and instinctively said, "That's right, Willis. Do you think my lecture is very difficult to understand? I can explain it to you in a simple way." Willis shook his head and said with a hint of disdain and mockery, "Humph. Teaching according to the textbook. Any literate person can do it. What's the point of having a teacher like you?" The students had spent a large sum of money on tuition fees, and all they learned was this superficial theoretical knowledge. "Why don't you go home and buy some books and study by yourself? You don't have to endure the stench of your feet." Willis's tone was forceful and direct, stunning Xiao Lei. Swoosh. The class was in an uproar. Fatty Lu Jia, who was sitting in the last row, was the first to stand up. He roared angrily, "Fuck. So the stench in the classroom is from your feet. You caused me to be misunderstood by my classmates for more than a week. Clear my name." As soon as Xiao Lei recovered from the shock, he heard Lu Jia pointing at him angrily and yelling, "Clear my name." Xiao Lei was frightened again. The rest of the students in the class were also stirred up. However, they did not care about who had the stench of feet. Instead, they stared at Willis and the other 4 students with hostility. No matter how stupid they were, they knew that these 5 people dared to provoke Class 1. Although the students of Class 1 disliked Xiao Lei, they knew that it was an outsider who had come to provoke them. Under Qin Feng's guidance, the students of Class 1 had become united. Even at a time like this, they were united against the outsiders. Hee. This student is right. Then I won't follow the textbook. I'll teach you whatever comes to my mind. Xiao Lei regained his composure and looked at Willis with a smile. Not only did he not refute Willis, but he also flattered Willis and his classmates. Xiao Lei's words clearly showed that he had given in to Xiao Lei. The students of Class 1 were so angry that they wanted to rush to the podium and beat Xiao Lei up. Xiao Lei closed his textbook and continued with his lecture. However, he was a doctor and had only been a teacher for a month. Now that he had abandoned the textbook, he was at a loss of what to teach. Hold on. Willis stood up and interrupted Xiao Lei before he could finish his sentence. Chapter 587. Xiao Lei was annoyed that he was interrupted again. However, he remembered that Willis and the other exchange students were of high status, so he put on a flattering smile and asked, "My dear handsome prince, do you have any questions to ask me?" Willis was disgusted to death when he heard the word consult from Xiao Lei. With a cold face, he said, "I'm sorry, but you're not qualified for me to consult you with a despicable person like you. One of the points you mentioned just now is obviously wrong. If I had followed your treatment plan, I think the patient would have been killed by you with a single needle." Xiao Lei's face darkened, but Willis ignored him and continued, No wonder Chinese teachers have to carry their textbooks and read them in class. It turns out that once they leave the textbooks, they will know nothing and the knowledge they teach will be wrong. How good will the students be after learning? Is this the provincial capital university medical college? The one that is said to be one of the top 3 medical colleges in China. What a disappointment. Willis said whatever came to his mind. The other 3 exchange students also stood up, shook their heads, and sighed as if they regretted coming to provincial capital university. Xiao Lei was enraged, not because these students looked down on provincial capital university in Chinese medicine, but because they did not give him face by exposing his stinky feet and lousy teaching in public. The students of Class 1 were also angry. They were angry because the outsiders had come to provoke them, because the outsiders looked down on the medical school, and looked down on the Chinese medicine that they revered. How dare you question our Chinese medical skills? Who do you think you are? Some of the students stood up and started to refute. It's just that Western medicine is better than ours. Don't forget, we have Chinese medicine with thousands of years of cultural heritage. How can your Western medicine be compared to it? Since you don't want to listen to the lecture, then get out. Why are you making it sound like you are here to listen? Oh right, leave that foreign chick here. The students of Class 1 kept standing up to refute. Even if they did not like Xiao Lei and did not like attending his Western medicine class, they were still the first to refute when outsiders came to look down on Provincial Capital University Medical College and Chinese medicine. What are you guys doing? Be quiet. Are you trying to rebel? The classroom was in chaos, and Xiao Lei was so scared that cold sweat broke out on his back. He felt that it didn't matter if he had imparted the wrong knowledge or not, but he absolutely couldn't let the exchange students from the St. Second Medical College suffer losses. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to bear the responsibility if something bad happened. After the classroom quieted down a little, Xiao Lei immediately put on a flattering smile and said to Willis and the other 4 students, "It seems like all of you are outstanding students since you were able to point out the mistakes that I made. You're indeed from the St. Second Med University. Your foundation is indeed profound. Our provincial capital university naturally can't compare to the standard of St. Medical Institute's Western medicine teaching. If you have any good suggestions, you can let me know. I'll try my best to correct them." Xiao Lei lowered his head and tried to curry favor with Xiao Lei. The students of Class 1 were so angry that they wanted to rush up and beat him up. Humph! What kind of lousy teacher is this? I can tolerate his poor teaching, but he doesn't even have the most basic Chinese spirit. He is simply a disgrace to the Chinese people. Many students started to complain. Xiao Lei acted as if he did not hear the voices of protest as he continued to talk and apologize to the 5 exchange students. Willis and the other 4 looked at Xiao Lei with disdain. If all the teachers in Kyoto Medical College were like him, then it would be hopeless. Bang! Suddenly, a muffled sound came from the last row of the classroom. Fatty Lu Jia smashed the wooden desk with his palm and stood up angrily. I can tell that the 5 of you are here to cause trouble. You're not welcome here. Get out of here now. The 4 male students' gazes fell on Lu Jia at the same time. They were stunned when they saw him smash the wooden desk with his palm. Avril also looked at Lu Jia with a serious expression. Her willowy eyebrows were tightly knitted, and no one knew what she was thinking. Humph! Everyone says that Chinese people are backward and don't know the manners of a gentleman. Today, I see that it is indeed true. You always threaten others with force. What a bore! Peter, the brawny black man, stepped forward after a moment of silence. Lu Jia and Peter were both tall and strong. Standing there, they looked like 2 small hills. The 2 glared at each other, and the atmosphere in the classroom turned cold. It was so quiet that one could hear the sound of heartbeats. You're not convinced? Fight me if you have the guts. Lu Jia walked toward Peter after a brief moment of silence. Let's fight. I'm not afraid of you. Peter refused to back down. Seeing that the 2 were about to fight, Hua Yan suddenly stood up and glared at Lu Jia. She yelled, Lu Jia, go back to your seat. Sister-in-law, these people are too much. I want to teach them a lesson. Lu Jia looked at Hua Yan with a wronged expression. Hua Yan used to be the big sister of Class 1, and many people were afraid of her. After Qin Feng joined the class, Lu Jia realized that Qin Feng and Hua Yan had an ambiguous relationship. As Qin Feng was Lu Jia's big brother, Lu Jia naturally addressed Hua Yan as his sister-in-law. My words don't work, do they? Are you trying to rebel? Hua Yan glared at Lu Jia, and he immediately retreated. Sister-in-law, don't be angry. I'll go back to my seat. Hua Yan was satisfied when Lu Jia went back to his seat. She was stunned for a moment before she yelled angrily, who's your sister-in-law? If you dare to yell again, I'll stomp you to death. Also, every time you get angry, you smash the desk. Do you know how many desks you have smashed? You've smashed all the class fees. Lu Jia was embarrassed at the mention of the class fees. His dark face turned red, and he lowered his head, pretending not to hear what Hua Yan said. Hua Yan glared at Lu Jia again before turning her attention to Peter and the others. If I'm not mistaken, the exchange program will officially begin tomorrow. If you want to cause trouble, wait until tomorrow. Class 1 isn't a place where you can mess around as you please. Get out of my sight, all of you. Hua Yan was infuriated by Lu Jia. She glared at Lu Jia for a while before turning her attention to Peter and the others. Hua Yan showed off her sharpness at this moment, and the aura of a big sister was undeniable. Peter's neck turned red with anger. He glared at Hua Yan and yelled, Bitch, talk nicely, or I'll beat you up. Bang! Another muffled sound. Lu Jia, who had just sat down, stood up abruptly. He glared at Peter and yelled, How can you talk to sister-in-law like that? Do you dare to touch a hair of my sister-in-law? Before Peter could speak, Hua Yan's chest heaved up and down with anger. She glared at Lu Jia and yelled, I just finished talking, and you smashed someone else's desk. Are you stupid? Oh, I'm sorry, Michao. I'm sorry, sister-in-law. Don't be angry. Let me see if I can stick these two desks together. Lu Jia squatted on the ground and began to work. Hua Yan and Ma Chao's mouths twitched when they saw the two desks were smashed into pieces. Don't call me sister-in-law. Hua Yan's body trembled with anger. Qiao Shi, who was dressed in a white dress and looked like a tranquil fairy, stood up from a seat near the window. She did not make a sound and did not attract anyone's attention. Please leave. You're not welcome here. Qiao Shi looked at Peter and the others. Her voice was soft but cold. Jack, the bespectacled man, Owen, and Willis, who had the temperament of a prince, walked to Peter's side. The four of them glanced at the students in Class 1 without saying a word. Their actions showed that they were not willing to leave. Lu Jia threw the crumbs that he had just picked up onto the ground and stood up angrily. Ma Chao also stood up, disregarding his own desk. Fang Ming also stood up with his two underlings. The students in the first row stood up, the students in the second row stood up. All the students in Class 1 stood up. All 56 students stared at Peter and the others coldly without saying a word. The atmosphere was at an impasse, and Xiao Lei was drenched in cold sweat. Hey, hey, hey! What are you students doing? Sit down. Are you trying to rebel? Do you not want to go to class anymore? If anyone dares to stand up again, I'll give him a demerit and a 0 in medical science. Don't even think about graduating. Xiao Lei didn't dare to offend the 5 exchange students. They were from the St. Medic University in the United States. He glared at his own students and spoke up for the other students. The students in Class 1 didn't even look at Xiao Lei because they felt disgusted. They didn't want to breathe because the classroom was filled with the stench of Xiao Lei's feet. Let's go. Avril, who had been silent all this while, suddenly said. She took the lead and walked out of the classroom. Peter and the other 4 students regained their senses after Avril left. They looked at each other and glared at the students in the next class before they left. The classroom was still in silence after the 5 of them left. None of the 56 students sat down. Xiao Lei glared at them angrily and began to curse again, "You bastards. You've grown a pair of wings, haven't you? Instead of studying, you only know how to stir up trouble for me. Do you know who they are? They are the elite students from the St. Medic University. Compared to them, you bunch of trash are. Get out of here." Hua Yan's beautiful eyes were bloodshot. She pointed at Xiao Lei and interrupted him. Xiao Lei was stunned. When he regained his senses, he was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. He wanted to reprimand Hua Yan, but before he could open his mouth, Lu Jia interrupted him. Get out of here too. Without Qin Feng, Hua Yan was the big sister, and Lu Jia was the big brother. However, Lu Jia listened to Hua Yan because she was his big brother's woman and his sister-in-law. Under the lead of the two of them, the whole class pointed at Xiao Lei and repeated the classic, "Get out of here too." Xiao Lei wanted to scold them a few times, but one mouth was no match for 56 mouths. In the end, he was so angry that he almost cried. He covered his face and ran out of the classroom. Chapter 588. Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang were walking side by side on the street in Warrior Town, which was the base of the Martial Artist Alliance in the provincial capital. Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang rushed to the provincial capital last night and took a nap this morning. When he woke up, Yan Wushuang brought him here. It was said that the base of the dragon sect in the provincial capital was in an inconspicuous shop in Warrior Town. Last night, Qin Feng made use of Yan Wushuang and made her so angry that the buttons on her cheongsam fell off. Since leaving Acropolis City last night, Yan Wushuang's face had been cold and she hadn't said a word to Qin Feng. Team Leader Yan, where is the dragon sect? You brought me to such a remote place. Don't tell me you've taken a fancy to my beauty. Don't mess around. I'm not a casual man. Qin Feng peeped at Yan Wushuang's chest with a serious face. Yan Wushuang was a stage 7 inner chi expert, so she could not see Qin Feng's eyes. Yan Wushuang was so angry that she wanted to explode. She opened her mouth but did not say anything. Under Yan Wushuang's guidance, the two of them passed through the bustling streets from the entrance of the warrior town, and arrived at a remote area with few people. Almost all the shops in this area were closed. They were either closed down or had seals on their doors. Almost no warrior would come to this area to shop in this area. Caw! Yan Wushuang stopped in front of a dilapidated house. She pushed the big red wooden door in front of her. The wooden door opened and the interior was different. Team Leader Yan. There were 4 guards standing behind the wooden door. Qin Feng glanced at them briefly and found that they were all stage 6 inner chi experts. The 4 guards greeted Yan Wushuang respectfully and let her in. Qin Feng was about to follow them when one of the guards pulled out a broadsword from his waist and blocked Qin Feng's way. Who are you? Qin Feng was waiting for Yan Wushuang's explanation. He saw Yan Wushuang standing in the yard and smiling coldly at him. She looked like she was trying to get back at him. Qin Feng gritted his teeth in anger. Seeing Qin Feng did not speak, the other 3 guards pulled out their broadswords and pointed them at Qin Feng. Since you can't tell us your name, don't blame us for being rude. How could the Dragon's Gate's sacred land be a place that ordinary people could casually barge into? The 4 men had condensed their inner chi and were ready to fight with Qin Feng. Although Qin Feng was not afraid of the 4 men, it would be very troublesome if they fought at the entrance of the Dragon Gate. Wait. Brothers, don't worry. I'm Team Leader Yan's lover. She brought me here. I thought she was going to bring me here for a private meeting. Who knew there were other people in this yard? I don't like to have group sex. No, I have to go first. Qin Feng pretended to dislike Yan Wushuang's taste and turned around to leave. The 4 guards were stunned by Qin Feng's words. Although Yan Wushuang did not have a high position in the dragon sect, she was definitely the prettiest woman in the dragon sect. Which man in the dragon sect did not want Yan Wushuang? However, Yan Wushuang was cold and aloof. She looked like she wasn't interested in men, which made her pursuers feel helpless. How could such a cold and arrogant woman suddenly have a lover? Qin Feng, do you want to die? Yan Wushuang really didn't want to talk to Qin Feng anymore. This man was simply a beast, a bastard, and a shameless pervert. However, Yan Wushuang knew she would be in big trouble if she didn't explain herself. She could only gnash her teeth, stare at Qin Feng, and yell. Qin Feng suddenly stopped, turned around and smiled at Yan Wushuang. Oh, Team Leader Yan, you can talk. You didn't say a word along the way, so I thought you were a mute. I was so worried. Look at you, you are so beautiful. It would be a pity if you were a mute. Qin Feng said this and then muttered in a low voice, if you were a mute, I wouldn't be able to sleep with you. Qin Feng, what were you muttering just now? Yan Wushuang really regretted pleading for Qin Feng in front of the dragon sect. She should have asked the dragon sect to unanimously agree to kill Qin Feng. I didn't say anything bad. I just said you are beautiful. Qin Feng always knew when to stop joking. Seeing that Yan Wushuang was angry, Qin Feng didn't say anything else. He leaped into the courtyard. The dragon sect's base looked shabby from the outside, but it was definitely a paradise on earth inside. The huge courtyard stretched as far as the eye could see. Rows of majestic and luxurious single-story houses lined up like giant dragons. It looked like the architectural style of an ancient imperial palace. The courtyard was filled with flowers and plants. Qin Feng glanced around and found many rare herbs. There were even a few spirit herbs in the flower pond. No wonder he felt the spiritual qi in the courtyard was so much richer than outside. After Qin Feng entered the house, he scanned his surroundings. The 4 guards finally came back to their senses. They had checked Qin Feng's strength before, and he was only a stage 6 inner qi martial artist. However, a stage 6 inner qi martial artist was able to enter the house under the watchful eyes of the 4 guards. It was unbelievable. Clang! 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 Before Qin Feng could say anything, Yan Wushuang said, "Don't be reckless. The dragon sect asked me to bring him here." The expressions of the 4 guards froze, and they even maintained the posture of drawing their broadswords halfway. They did not expect that this extremely ordinary man in front of them was actually invited by the higher-ups. Could it be that he was a new member of the Dragon Gate? "Leader Yan, we apologize for our impoliteness. Please come in." The 4 guards bowed slightly to Yan Wushuang and Qin Feng. Yan Wushuang didn't say anything and led Qin Feng deeper into the courtyard. Yan Wushuang realized that Qin Feng was a troublemaker. He wouldn't stop for even a second. Qin Feng followed behind Yan Wushuang. He knew that Yan Wushuang was angry, so he didn't take the initiative to talk to her when he saw her cold face. Qin Feng walked past the palace-like buildings and entered one of them. There were also 2 guards standing at the entrance of the room. They were also stage 6 inner qi martial artists. The 2 guards didn't ask any questions. After greeting Yan Wushuang, they opened the door and let Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang in. The house looked like a tea house with a few square tables. The room was spacious and bright, but there was no one in the house. "Qiao Feng, there's something I haven't told you," Yan Wushuang said after they entered the house and sat down in front of a square table. Qin Feng sat opposite Yan Wushuang and poured himself a cup of tea to moisten his throat. He asked, "What's the matter?" "Only you and I know that Qin Lang is Qin Feng. I didn't report this to the higher-ups, which means that when people come, you'll be Qin Lang, and your true appearance will be Qiao Feng. Do you understand what I mean?" Qin Feng was shocked and looked at Yan Wushuang in surprise. Qin Feng didn't want his identity to be exposed, but he thought that Yan Wushuang would reveal his identity to the dragon sect after he crippled Qi Wanjun. He didn't expect that she would keep it a secret. "Don't look at me like that. I have my own reasons for doing this. Don't misunderstand." Yan Wushuang couldn't stand Qin Feng's stare. She glared at him coldly. "In other words, other than you, no one else knows that I'm still alive." Qin Feng wanted to confirm. "Qin Feng is dead. You're Green Wolf, and Green Wolf's real identity is Qiao Feng. Am I not clear enough?" Yan Wushuang's expression was cold. All of a sudden, Qin Feng had the urge to pounce on Yan Wushuang and give her a big kiss. He didn't care why this girl helped him hide his identity, but Yan Wushuang's actions were beneficial to him. Yan Wushuang didn't say anything else. She drank her tea quietly. Qin Feng was afraid that the walls might be eavesdropping, so he put an end to the topic. The 2 of them sat around the square table and waited for a while. Then, the door opened again and 3 men walked in. The man in the front was in his 50s. He wore a suit and leather shoes and had a big belly. He glanced at Yan Wushuang and Qiao Feng after he entered the room. He didn't say anything and sat on the main seat. The 2 men walking behind him were in their 40s. One of them wore a black exercise suit and had a crew cut. He was tanned and muscular. The other one was wearing a white training suit. His long hair draped over his shoulders, and his skin was soft and tender like a girl's. When these two men walked together, from afar, they looked like a couple. "Leader Yen, it's been a while." The man in the black exercise suit greeted Yen Wuxuang with a smile. The man in white did not lag behind. He smiled and said, "Leader Yen, you're getting more and more beautiful. You're really a genius." A trace of disgust flashed in Yen Wuxuang's eyes. She couldn't pretend that she didn't know them, so she stood up and introduced them to the others. "Qiao Feng, this is Song Chongqing, the vice leader of the black group," Yen Wuxuang said to the man in black. Qin Feng's gaze fell on Song Chongqing. He didn't expect Song Chongqing to be the vice leader of the black group. He tried to sense Song Chongqing's qi, but he couldn't tell his strength. "Leader Song." Qin Feng already knew that the dragon sect was filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. However, he was surprised to see that the guards at the door were all stage 6 inner chi martial artists. Everyone in the room was an unfathomable expert. Song Chongqing nodded in response. Yen Wuxuang continued, "The man in black is Lei Ming, the leader of the yellow group, and the man in white is the instructor of the yellow group, Lu Yundun. The man beside me is Qiao Feng, and his other identity is Green Wolf." Qin Feng sized up Lei Ming and Lu Yundun after Yen Wuxuang finished speaking. Qin Feng sensed their qi. They were both very powerful. Qin Feng guessed that they were stage 8 inner qi experts. Lei Ming and Lu Yundun were also sizing up Qin Feng. Qin Feng's battle at Devil Beast Mountain as Green Wolf had made a name for himself in the dragon sect and the outer martial arts world. He had crippled Qi Wanjun, one of the 5 tigers, and injured Southeast Tiger Yuan Fu, who had disappeared for many years. Everyone was very curious about him. After a while, Lei Ming and Lu Yundun withdrew their gazes. A playful smile appeared on their faces. They could tell that Qin Feng was only a stage 6 inner chi expert, but it wasn't Green Wolf's true strength. Everyone thought that Qin Feng was hiding his true strength, so they didn't point it out. After the introductions, the atmosphere in the room was a little stiff. After a while, the vice leader of the black group, Song Chongqing, suddenly spoke. Chapter 589. The leader of the Dragon Gate's Xian group, Song Chongqing, had already spoken. The leader of the yellow group, Lei Ming, followed closely behind and looked at Qin Feng with a smile. "Qiao Feng, since you're younger than me, I'll call you little brother Qiao Feng from now on. You have such a high realm at such a young age. You're truly a rare talent among the new generation of China. You've just arrived at the Dragon Gate, and you've already been given a mission. It really makes one envious. I believe that with your strength, you'll definitely be able to successfully complete this mission. Of course, little brother Qiao Feng defeated the Southeast's Tiger Yuan Fu at Devil Beast Mountain 3 days ago, and you beat the capital's tiger Qi Wanjun into a cripple. With such powerful skills, even I, the instructor of the yellow group, fear you. Little brother Qiao Feng is so powerful, what can't you do?" Lu Yunyun said with a strange tone. The 3 of them had already spoken. On the surface, it looked like they were congratulating Qin Feng in advance, but Qin Feng could tell that none of them had good intentions. It was clearly a difficult mission, but the 3 of them made it sound like it was easy. If Qin Feng really completed this mission, then it would become an ordinary task for Si Kong, and he might not even get much credit. However, if he didn't complete this mission, then it would mean that Qin Feng was incompetent. He couldn't even complete such a simple mission. These 3 old foxes were each more shrewd than the other. Qin Feng had only just seen the 3 of them, but he felt waves of pressure. "Ha! Thank you, Group Leader Song, Group Leader Lei, and Instructor Lu for your blessings. I've just joined the Dragon Sect, and there are still many things I don't understand. I don't know anything about this mission, but I heard what the three seniors said just now. I think this mission is very simple. Group leader Lei just said that he envies me. Since I'm a newcomer, I'm willing to give up this mission to you. When the mission is completed, all the rewards and merits will be given to you, Group leader Lei. You don't have to thank me, just take care of me in the future, Qin Feng said as he looked at group leader Huang, Lei Ming, with a smile. The smile on Lei Ming's face froze as if he had just eaten a fly. But very quickly, Lei Ming regained his composure and laughed. Ha! Brother Qiao Feng, at such a young age, not only do you possess astonishing strength, I never thought that you would also know how to conduct yourself. A talent like you is truly something that we seniors like very much. Since you've already called me senior, how could I steal your credit? This time's mission will still be completed by you. I wish you good luck in obtaining your contribution as soon as possible. At that time, I'll represent the Huang group to invite you to join us. For Lei Ming to be able to become the team leader of the Dragon Gate's Huang group, not only was he extremely powerful, but he was also very smart. With just a few words, he had returned the trap that Qin Feng had dug for him. Qin Feng had already guessed that things would be like this. He smiled faintly and his gaze fell on Lu Yunyun. Instructor Lu, since group leader Huang cherishes talent and isn't willing to accept my filial piety, then I'll give this mission to you. I believe that with Instructor Lu's strength, you'll be able to complete this mission in minutes. An ominous glint flashed in Lu Yunyun's eyes. He laughed and said, Brother Qiao Feng, aren't you looking down on me? Since Leader Huang gave me such a great opportunity, why would I steal the credit from a newbie like you? You should take this mission, and the credit will naturally be yours. Qin Feng wanted to ask Song Chongqing again, but before Qin Feng could speak, Song Chongqing said first, Qiao Feng, the mission was assigned by the higher-ups to you and group leader Yan to complete. Naturally, they wouldn't give it up just like that. You just came to the Dragon Gate, so you don't know the rules. I'll let it go this time, but don't say such stupid things next time. In the end, the mission still fell on Qin Feng's head, but Qin Feng had already gained the upper hand in the secret fight just now. Originally, Song Chongqing and the other two saw that Qin Feng was a newbie, so they wanted to use Qin Feng as a chess piece. As long as Qin Feng completed this mission, the three of them would split the credit. However, after Qin Feng's battle of wits and courage, the three of them clearly stated that the mission would be done by Qin Feng, and they would definitely not steal the credit from Qin Feng. Yan Wushuang had been sitting quietly at the side, watching the battle of wits and courage between Qin Feng and Song Chongqing and the other two. Yan Wushuang had stayed in the Dragon Gate for a long time, so she naturally knew about the intrigue and deception within the Dragon Gate. It was definitely a palace fight or a family fight for inheritance. However, Yan Wushuang knew Qin Feng too well. He was never one to suffer losses, and the current situation was just as Yan Wushuang had guessed. Alright, since everyone knows each other and the mission has been arranged, I'll take my leave first. I still have some matters to attend to. Song Chongqing suddenly stood up and walked out of the room with an expressionless face. Brother Qiao Feng, I'll be waiting for your good news. Lei Ming stood up, smiled at Qin Feng, and walked out of the room. Wushuang, this mission is to test whether Qiao Feng has the ability to join the Dragon Gate. Although you're his partner, don't work too hard in this mission. Even if you fail this mission, the higher-ups won't blame you. Lu Yunduan, who looked as delicate as a woman, didn't even look at Qin Feng. Instead, he said a few words to Yan Wushuang. In Lu Yunduan's opinion, even if Qiao Feng was a Stage 9 inner chi expert, he might not be able to complete this mission. After all, the William family of America was not that easy to deal with. The three of them came and left abruptly. Only Qin Feng and Yan Wushuang were left in the room. Song Chongqing, who was the first to leave the room, was not in a hurry to leave. Soon, Lei Ming and Lu Yunduan walked out of the room. Team leader Song. The two of them greeted Song Chongqing respectfully as soon as they walked out of the room. Song Chongqing waved his hand and said, "What do you think of this kid?" "Humph. He thinks he's smart." Lei Ming's eyes flashed with anger and a trace of contempt. "He's strong, shrewd, and young. It would be great if he could be of use to us. If he doesn't know what's good for him, we'd better get rid of him as soon as possible," Lu Yunduan, who exuded a feminine aura, said with a murderous look in his eyes. Song Chongqing nodded slightly and said, "Let's wait for him to finish this mission first. Who knows, if he messes up the mission, the higher-ups of the Dragon Gate will send someone to get rid of him. What's there for us to worry about?" "Yes, team leader Song." Lu Yunduan and Lei Ming replied simultaneously. "Team leader Yen, now that the annoying flies are gone, shall we do something interesting?" Qin Fang's eyes fell on Yen Wushuang's plump breasts. He looked as if he wanted to eat them up. Yen Wushuang was used to Qin Fang's behavior. She was too lazy to reprimand Qin Feng. She said with a cold face, "If you knew that those three men have joined forces to suppress you, would you still have the same thoughts?" Qin Feng looked indifferent. Apparently, he had already thought of this. "If I cry for 3 days and 3 nights, will they stop suppressing me? If that's the case, I'll cry right now." Yen Wushuang's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light. She looked at Qin Feng for a long time and said, "Then I wish you good luck and can successfully complete this mission. Your identity as a teacher in Jindu University has been settled. You can report there at any time." Yen Wushuang stood up and was about to leave. Apparently, she was going to leave alone. Looking at Yen Wushuang's disappearing figure, Qin Feng suddenly said, "At least I have you as a friend in the Dragon Gate, right? That's more than enough." Yen Wushuang's delicate body trembled. Immediately, she calmed down and disappeared into the street as if nothing had happened. A while after Yen Wushuang left, Qin Feng finished his cup of tea and slowly walked out of the Dragon Gate's base. Strolling leisurely on the streets of martial artist town, Qin Feng recalled the time when he and Lu Jia went to the St. Medic Hall and the blacksmith shop to turn in the mission. Qin Feng hastily spat on the ground a few times. How could he miss the memory of a fat, tanned, stinky man? Duong. Qin Feng lowered his head and was lost in his thoughts. Suddenly, he bumped into something soft. It was so bouncy that Qin Feng's face bounced back. "Aw! You beast! How dare you attack my chest?" A feminine voice was heard, followed by a flash of cold light. Fortunately, Qin Feng had broken through to stage 6 inner qi. Otherwise, he would have been hit in the vital part of his body. Panting with rage, Qin Feng looked at the person in front of him. It was a woman he knew. Ren Xiaoyao pouted and her pretty face was flushed red. She stared angrily at Qin Feng with her large, watery eyes. She wore a fiery red, tight-fitting qipao, which perfectly outlined her voluptuous figure. She held a silver flexible sword in her hand, and she looked like a fairy that had fallen out of paradise. Qin Feng smirked when he saw Ren Xiaoyao. The last time Qin Feng visited St. Medic Hall in martial artist town, he said that St. Medic Hall was a black market. At that time, Ren Xiaoyao was unhappy and quarreled with Qin Feng. In the end, Qin Feng touched Ren Xiaoyao's slender waist and ran for his life. Qin Feng was no match for Ren Xiaoyao when she was a stage 6 inner qi cultivator. Now that Ren Xiaoyao had broken through to stage 7 inner qi, Qin Feng was no longer afraid of her. "Yo, what a cute and pretty girl. How about you come home with me and be my maid?" Qin Feng recklessly sized up Ren Xiaoyao's figure and spoke nonsense. Ren Xiaoyao was so angry that her delicate body trembled. As the Pearl of St. Medic Hall, she had never been stared at like this before. Not to mention, such frivolous words. The Sacred Medicine Hall and the Smithy were sacred existences in martial artist town. The pills and weapons they sold were the two types of items that martial artists needed the most. Even a powerful martial artist would not dare offend the people from these two shops. Even the waiters didn't dare to bully them, let alone the Princess of St. Medic Hall. Scumbag, you're courting death. Ren Xiaoyao was cute and mischievous when she was angry. However, this little girl was also extremely dangerous. If one was not as skilled as Qin Feng, it would be best not to provoke this little princess. Otherwise, she would hack him into pieces. Whoosh! Whoosh! Chapter 590. Little girl, even if you don't want to be my servant, you can't hurt people with your sword. It's not a good habit, Qin Feng lectured Ren Xiaoyao as he dodged the attacks. Ren Xiaoyao became a stage 7 inner chi cultivator at such a young age with the help of his family. He didn't expect that he couldn't even hurt an inconspicuous brat in front of him. Ren Xiaoyao was about to explode when he saw Qin Feng's smug expression. Brat, you're pissing me off. Yan Wushuang sped up and the sword chi became sharper. Qin Feng was a stage 6 inner chi cultivator, so he could deal with a stage 8 inner chi cultivator. However, it was difficult for him to dodge Ren Xiaoyao's attacks. Little beauty, your sword technique is pretty good. But I advise you to stop now. Don't regret it when I'm done with my sword. Qin Feng's expression turned cold. Since when did Ren Xiaoyao ever admit defeat? Not only did the silver soft sword in her hand not stop, but it also danced around like snowflakes. Every sword flower was filled with coldness, and Qin Feng felt like he was going to die. An orange-grade spirit sword appeared in the hands of Qin Feng, who had been dodging all this while. Holding the spirit blast sword in his hand, Qin Feng simply slashed at the sky. A stream of sword chi, which seemed to have condensed into a solid form, slashed at Ren Xiaoyao. What kind of sword technique is this? How can it be so powerful? Ren Xiaoyao opened her mouth wide in shock. She had a cute look on her face as she felt a strong sense of danger. Before the sword chi could injure her, she quickly leaped away. In a breath's time, she had retreated dozens of meters away. The sword chi disappeared as the sword chi faded away. Qin Feng stood there alone with his sword. He realized that the sword chi produced by the 9 strategies beyond the swords had become more powerful after his breakthrough, and he was very satisfied with it. How is it? Do you know how powerful I am now? Do you want to learn the sword technique that I just showed you? If you come home with me, I'll teach you. Qin Feng looked at Ren Xiaoyao with a smile. Ren Xiaoyao's pretty face was puffed up with anger as she looked at Qin Feng snappily. She was already shocked by Qin Feng's sword. The family behind Ren Xiaoyao was extremely powerful. Whether it was elixirs or secret manuals, they were all very rich. Ren Xiaoyao liked the way of the sword, so she chose the mystic-grade moon shyness sword art to cultivate from a young age. This sword art could only be cultivated by a virgin girl to the large success stage. Although Ren Xiaoyao had not cultivated the moon shyness sword art to the large success stage, she had reached the small success stage. What's more, this sword technique was a mysterious rank sword technique, which was extremely rare in China. She never thought that Qin Feng would be able to break through it with one move. It truly blinded Ren Little Yao's adorable eyes. Humph. What a bullshit sword technique. It's so lousy, I don't want to learn it. No matter how shocked she was, Ren Xiaoyao didn't want to show it in front of Qin Feng. She hated Qin Feng to death. Ren Xiaoyao had only hated 2 people in her life. One was the strange man with the wolf mask who had taken advantage of her in St. Medic Hall half a month ago, and the other was this stinky man with an extremely ordinary appearance. Forget it if you don't want to learn it. I'm leaving. Qin Feng knew that Ren Xiaoyao was afraid of his skills, so she didn't dare to attack him. Qin Feng didn't have any ill intentions towards Ren Xiaoyao. Instead, he felt that this girl was very cute. Teasing her was one of the joys of life. Hey! Who said you can leave? Stop right there. Ren Xiaoyao hurriedly shouted when she saw Qin Feng was about to leave. Qin Feng stopped, turned around, and shook his head. His elegant hair danced in the wind. No matter how Ren Xiaoyao saw him, at least Qin Feng felt that he was extremely handsome at this moment. Beauty, is there anything else? Qin Feng smiled like a gentleman. Ren Xiaoyao was so disgusted by Qin Feng that she almost vomited. She said unhappily, "You just bumped into my chest, and you want to leave just like that? In your dreams." Qin Feng looked at Ren Xiaoyao in surprise. He looked around and asked doubtfully, "Did I bump into Mrs. Pet Bear? Where is it? Is it flat? Why, you're shameless." Ren Xiaoyao knew that Qin Feng was pretending to be dumb. She was so angry that she couldn't speak. Qin Feng said with a straight face, "How am I shameless? If I really bumped into Mrs. Bear, then I'll compensate you. But don't you see any bears around here?" Ren Xiaoyao couldn't hold it in anymore. She screamed, "It's not a pet bear. It's my 36D breasts. Do you understand?" Yes, yes, yes. I understand this very well. Then, can I help Miss Ru Ro? Qin Feng leaped and arrived beside Ren Xiaoyao. A fragrant scent wafted from Ren Xiaoyao's body. Ren Xiaoyao hurriedly crossed her arms and looked at Qin Feng warily. "What do you want?" "I'm telling you, I'm the daughter of the Saint Medic. You're dead meat today." Qin Feng knew that Ren Xiaoyao was from the Saint Medic, but he didn't expect her to be the daughter of the Saint Medic. This identity was incredible. Qin Feng was worried sick. He hurriedly said, "Oh my God. So you're the young miss of Saint Medicine Hall. It's all my fault, it's all my fault. But my family is poor, and I can't afford to pay for it. How about I give young miss a massage for a while, and you let me go?" "Humph, that's more like it. It's good that you know to admit defeat. Then you." Ren Xiaoyao was pleased to see that Qin Feng's attitude had softened. However, when she realized Qin Feng's words, she was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. "What are you talking about? You're going to piss me off. Miss, are you going to massage your breasts or not?" Everyone was missing Teacher Qin Feng's voice. If Teacher Qin Feng was not expelled and Qin Feng was the one who taught the Chinese medicine class yesterday, would those 5 exchange students still dare to be so arrogant? Would that scum Xiao Lei embarrass the provincial capital university so thoroughly? A row of people stood in the provincial capital university's principal's office. They were the deans and lecturers of the various faculties of the provincial capital university. All of them were dejected and dared not speak. The principal, Wang Zhonghua, stood in front of them with his hands clasped behind his back. He paced back and forth in the office more than 10 times. Suddenly, Wang Zhonghua stopped pacing and looked at the people in front of him. "Shameful. This is so shameful. Tell me, where should I put my old face?" Everyone lowered their heads and remained silent like children who had done something wrong. Among the crowd, there was a man who was trembling from head to toe. He was more nervous and afraid than the others. His legs were shaking violently because he was the main reason why the provincial capital university's reputation was ruined. "Instructor Xiao Lei, don't you have anything to say?" Wang Zhonghua glared at Xiao Lei and asked in annoyance. Xiao Lei was so scared that he almost fell to the ground. He thought it would be enough to please the students from the Saint's Second Medical Institute, but he did not expect that the principal would still be furious. Wang Zhongguo was even angrier when Xiao Lei remained silent. He continued, "Do you know what the provincial capital university students are saying about our university? An inferior school that worships foreign things, a school that only knows how to read in class. Do you know how Professor Mike and the other lecturers from the Saint Medical Institute looked at me? Their eyes were filled with disappointment and mockery. How can I continue to be the principal of the provincial capital university? What a good university it was. Did I ruin it?" Wang Zhongguo was really angry. The exchange conference had not even officially started, but the provincial capital university had already suffered a crushing defeat. The deans and lecturers in front of him were silent. Xiao Lei was so scared that he held his breath and broke out in a cold sweat. The principal's office fell into a dead silence. Even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. But at this moment, a leisurely voice rang out. Chapter 591. An unfamiliar voice came from the door. Everyone in the office looked at the man standing at the door. The man was dressed in a well-ironed and handsome suit. He was tall and straight, but his face was too ordinary. It was easy to forget him after one look. "Who are you?" Wang Zhongguo did not know the man in front of him, so he suppressed his anger and asked. "Hello, Principal Wang. Are you having a meeting? I hope I'm not disturbing you." Qiao Feng walked into the office with a smile as if he was in his own home. He took a chair and sat down. Wang Zhongguo and the dozen professors and deans stood and looked at Qiao Feng. Qiao Feng was embarrassed by their stares. "Why is everyone standing? Come, take a seat. Make yourself at home. Don't stand on ceremony with me." Qin Feng chuckled as he greeted everyone. He made it sound like this was his territory. "You're right." Wang Zhongguo was already having a headache because of the exchange meeting. Now that he was angered by Qin Feng, he glared at Qin Feng and asked, "Who are you?" "We are having an important meeting. Please leave." "Principal Wang, I'm Qiao Feng. I'm a new teacher and I'm here to report for duty." Qiao Feng looked at Wang Zhongguo with a smile. Wang Zhongguo's expression changed slightly when he heard the name Qiao Feng. Yesterday, the director of the Ministry of Education personally called Wang Zhongguo to arrange a teacher in provincial capital university. Wang Zhongguo was puzzled at that time. Who was Qiao Feng to the director? Not only did Wang Zhongguo make a phone call to arrange a good position, but Qiao Feng was only an ordinary Chinese medicine teacher in the medical college. Wang Zhongguo looked at Qiao Feng again. The more he looked at Qiao Feng, the more ordinary he felt this person was. Wang Zhongguo had to discuss the follow-up of the exchange student, so he had no time to take care of Qiao Feng. He said, "You are Qiao Feng. I've arranged everything. You can go to the medical college anytime you want. I have something important to do now, so I won't be taking you to class. Go find a female teacher named Chang Xian and ask her to arrange it for you." "Thank you, Principal Wang." Qin Feng nodded at Wang Zhongguo. He had no intention of leaving. Wang Zhongguo frowned and asked Qin Feng, "Professor Qiao Feng, is there anything you don't understand?" "Nothing." "Then you can leave first. We still have business to discuss." Wang Zhongguo was about to die from anger. He thought to himself, how can this person be so blind? Qiao Feng was not anxious at all. He leisurely sat on the chair and said, "Oh. I see that you have an important meeting to attend, and I am now a teacher at Kyoto University. Of course, I have to attend this kind of meeting. I can learn a lot. You guys continue, don't mind me, I have nothing to say." It wasn't just Wang Zhonghua who was speechless towards Xiao Feng. The corners of the mouths of the directors and professors were twitching violently. They had already told him that this was an important meeting, and everyone present was a big shot. You're just an ordinary Chinese medicine teacher, and a teacher who had just come to report. Why are you here? Why don't you have any sense? This is a meeting of the school's higher-ups. Everyone here is at the level of the dean and professors. What's with a new teacher like you sitting here? Get out of here. Xiao Lei knew that he had made a big mistake this time, so he kept quiet during the meeting. Now that he had found a chance to flatter Xiao Feng, he quickly stood up and shouted at Xiao Feng. Qin Feng saw Xiao Lei as soon as he entered the room, but he was too lazy to deal with this idiot. Now that Xiao Lei had taken the initiative to provoke him, Qin Feng couldn't tolerate his bad habit. You must be Professor Xiao Lei, right? Qin Feng looked at Xiao Lei with a smile. Xiao Lei was slightly stunned. He pointed at his nose and said, "You know me." "Of course I know you. Lecturer Xiao Lei is famous in Kyoto University. Who wouldn't know you?" Xiao Lei put away his anger and grinned. He looked at Qin Feng and said, Brother Xiao Feng, you're flattering me. I, Xiao Lei, am indeed very accomplished in the field of Western medicine, and I'm deeply loved by my students. However, there's always someone better than you, so we teachers should be humble. I've always lived by the principle of neither arrogance nor rashness. I've always kept a low profile, but I still accidentally became the focus of Kyoto University. This is really a pleasant surprise. Xiao Lei didn't expect the new teacher, Xiao Feng, to know about him. He became complacent. I don't know if what Professor Xiao Lei said is true or not. The reason I know about you is that on my way here from the campus, the students were cursing a teacher named Xiao Lei. They said that he has bad teaching skills and only knows how to read books. They said that he has a big head, big ears, and triangular eyes. The most shameful thing is that he is subservient to foreign exchange students and fawns over them. Sigh, this kind of person is a disgrace to Huaxia. Qin Feng was absolutely merciless when he scolded Xiao Lei. The smile on Xiao Lei's face suddenly froze. He was so angry that his neck turned red. You! Stop it! Do you really think that my teaching skills are bad? It's obvious that the 5 exchange students are too strong. I believe that if you were to teach, you would be even worse than me, Xiao Lei hastily interrupted Qin Feng. He had lost all of his dignity. Incompetent people always like to find all kinds of excuses when they fail. Since Professor Xiao Lei said so, then we'll just accept it, Qin Feng said unhurriedly. You. Well said. So you're saying that you can suppress the 5 elite students sent by the Saint Medical University? Then I'll let you attend the exchange course for the next few days. Xiao Lei sneered halfway through his anger. He threw the thorny problem to Qin Feng. If Qin Feng didn't agree, he would be slapped in the face. If Qin Feng agreed, he would be slapped in the face by the 5 exchange students. Xiao Lei didn't believe that a new Chinese medicine teacher could suppress the 5 elite students. Xiao Lei, I don't think you have the slightest awareness of your mistakes. Wang Zhonghua glared at Xiao Lei before Xiao Feng could open his mouth. In the eyes of Wang Zhonghua and the other deans and professors, it was obvious that Xiao Feng couldn't suppress the exchange students. Therefore, Wang Zhonghua cut the topic short. He never thought of relying on Xiao Feng to solve the problem. You don't have to provoke me. I'm here in a hurry to meet the exchange students and lecturers. How dare they act ruthlessly in China? How dare they make a scene in the medical university? How can I let them have their way? Bang! Qin Feng slammed the table and stood up abruptly. His voice was loud and clear, and it shocked everyone present. All right. You said it yourself. You heard it, Principal Wang. Professor Chow Feng volunteered himself to deal with the exchange students. Let's give him the opportunity to perform well. Xiao Lei was excited that he had found a scapegoat. He was afraid that Qin Feng would go back on his words in the next second. Wang Zhongguo glared at Xiao Lei. He had the urge to kick Xiao Lei. Nonsense. Nonsense. Chow Feng, go and find Professor Chang Axan first. We'll talk about the rest later. Obviously, Wang Zhongguo was not optimistic about Qin Feng. He assumed that Qin Feng was someone who relied on his connections to get by. How could he hand over such an important exchange meeting to a new teacher like Chow Feng? Chow Feng knew that he could not convince Wang Zhongguo in a short time, so he left. If it wasn't for the investigation of the William family, Chow Feng wouldn't waste his time on such matters. Principal Wang, leaders, I'll take my leave now. Qin Feng smiled at everyone and left the principal's office. After exiting the office, Qin Feng made a detour to the ordinary lecturer's office building. He went up to the third floor and arrived at Chang Xian's office. It had been a long time since Qin Feng last saw Chang Xian. He was a little excited. Qin Feng pushed the door open without knocking. As soon as the door opened, a beautiful figure crashed into him. Although Qin Feng had the ability to dodge, he had no intention of doing so. Ah! Chang Xian cried out in surprise and fell into Qin Feng's arms. Qin Feng had a wicked smile on his face, but he quickly calmed down. He frowned and wrapped his arm around Chang Xian's slender waist. He asked nervously, Professor, are you all right? I was just about to enter the office, but I didn't expect you to come out at the same time. Did I scare you? Chang Xian was indeed frightened. She was about to go to the campus for a walk, but she bumped into a tall man as soon as she stepped out of the door. Her heart was still racing. Let go of me first. Chang Xian felt her waist being touched by Qin Feng. Her chest was pressed tightly against his chest. Chang Xian was not used to such intimate behavior. Qin Feng took a whiff of Chang Xian's familiar fragrance and released her. Chang Xian was still wearing her signature black silk dress and black high heels. She looked very mature and alluring, and her temperament was very similar to Li Yuchen's. Who are you? Chang Xian sized up Qin Feng. She had never seen such an ordinary-looking man before. Qin Feng smiled and extended his hand. My name is Chow Feng. I have just joined the provincial capital university as a teacher. I just went to Principal Wang's office to report for duty. He asked me to look for you to make arrangements for me. Chang Xian did not have the habit of shaking hands with men. She usually ignored male teachers when she saw them. Oh, I see. What class are you teaching? Seeing that Chang Xian had no intention of shaking hands with him, Qin Feng smiled and withdrew his hand. Professor Chang Xian, I just washed my hands after peeing. Do you think my hands are dirty? Chang Xian did not expect Qin Feng to answer her question with such a disgusting question. She glared at Qin Feng and said, What nonsense are you talking about? I'm very busy right now. If you don't want me to bring you to class, I'll take my leave. Chang Xian was cold and arrogant. Qin Feng knew Chang Xian's temper, so he was not surprised. He chuckled and followed her. You're crazy. You're crazy. Chang Xian didn't want to waste her breath with Chow Feng. She thought that Chow Feng was crazy. Chang Xian quickened her pace and headed to the medical college. She wanted to bring Qin Feng to the medical college as soon as possible so that she wouldn't talk to an idiot like him anymore. Chang Xian kept a straight face and Qin Feng didn't want to disturb her. He deliberately slowed down his pace and followed behind Chang Xian, admiring the way Chang Xan's sexy buttocks swayed as she walked. At the same time, outside the classroom of Provincial Capital University's Medical College, 3 teams occupied their respective corners and formed a triangular formation. It was as if the 3 countries were competing for hegemony. The 3 teams consisted of students from Class 1, Class 2, and the 5 elite exchange students from the St. Medical College. The news that the 5 exchange students from the St. Medical College defeated Class 1 of the Medical College had spread like wildfire in the campus. However, the exchange meeting didn't officially start yesterday, so Willis and the other 4 students could only leave in a huff. Today was the first day of the exchange meeting, and the 5 of them came to the medical college again to slap the face of the medical college. Lu Jia, do you guys still have the cheek to stand up for me? I'm really stunned by your shamelessness. Your class has disgraced the medical school and the reputation of Kyoto University. Hurry up and get lost. Don't come back and slap the face of the medical school again. I'm starting to suspect that you've been bribed by the other party and are spies here, right? Gao Tianyao stood at the forefront of Class 2. He wore a white tang suit and held a wooden fan in his hand. He looked at the students from Class 1 with a playful smile on his face. Lu Jia and Hua Yan stood at the forefront of Class 1 and glared at Gao Tianyao angrily. Gao Tianyao was the leader of the 4 young masters of Provincial Capital University. Before Qin Feng's arrival, no one had ever dared to offend Gao Tianyao. Even Lu Jia had to swallow his anger in front of Gao Tianyao. Even when Gao Tianyao slapped him in front of everyone in class, Lu Jia did not dare to retaliate. However, everything changed after Qin Feng's arrival. Lu Jia was no longer the cowardly Lu Jia, and the medical college's Class 1 was no longer a disunited class. They were united and had a new soul. Even if Qin Feng was gone, the strongest class would still exist as long as the new soul was still there. Shut up, Gao Tianyao. Why didn't I see you shouting and fighting when Professor Qin Feng was here? Now you're showing off in front of everyone. What a disgrace. Lu Jia pointed at Gao Tianyao and rebuked him. Gao Tianyao's face turned ashen. How could a piece of trash like Lu Jia talk back to him? It was all because of Qin Feng. Gao Tianyao hated Qin Feng the most. Qin Feng was the bad guy who dragged him down from his pedestal. But soon, Gao Tianyao burst into unbridled laughter. Ha ha ha. Qin Feng. Where is he? Why don't you call him out and let me have a look at him? Without Qin Feng's support, your class is just a pile of dog shit. I don't even have the desire to step on you guys. Before Willis and the other 4 could challenge the medical college students, they saw the students from the 2 classes fighting among themselves. The 4 male students shook their heads and sighed. Their eyes were filled with disdain. They became more and more disappointed in the medical college of Provincial Capital University. How could a medical college like this be ranked among the top 3 in Huaxia Chinese Medicine Academy? It was even worse than a diploma mill. Ah! Someone fainted. Someone in the crowd suddenly shouted, attracting everyone's attention. Soon, the medical college students parted to form a small path. A plump girl was lying on the ground. Her body was twitching uncontrollably. It was a frightening sight. What's going on? Is she suffering from a heatstroke? A student guessed. What's wrong with you? It's almost the winter solstice. Why don't you show me a heatstroke? A student retorted. The student who said that he suffered from a heatstroke was embarrassed. His face turned red. After a while, he shouted again, who said that heatstroke is related to summer. It's caused by excessive heat. Look at that plump girl. She's wearing such a thick cotton-padded jacket in the middle of the crowd. She must have fainted from the heat. The student's mouth twitched. He didn't know how to refute. Ah! Her body is twitching more and more violently. Hurry up and call an ambulance. Some of the more timid girls were scared out of their wits. They took out their cell phones and were about to call 119. I'm afraid it's too late to call an ambulance. Which male student is willing to carry this girl to the school's infirmary with me? A well-built man came to the side of the fainted girl. After he said that, he turned around and found that the group of people who were standing behind him had all taken 3 steps back, directly separating him from the fainted girl. The man was very angry at the student's cold attitude. He decided to carry the girl to the infirmary alone. However, as soon as he lifted the girl who had fainted, the strong man's neck turned red. He hurriedly put the girl back on the ground. He thought to himself, isn't this girl a little too heavy? I almost forgot. My mom is still waiting for me to come home for dinner. After putting the girl on the ground, the well-built man ran away. This dramatic scene stunned the students of both classes. Willis and the other 4 were also dumbfounded. However, they quickly came back to their senses. Without saying a word, the 5 of them surrounded the girl and squatted down. This student isn't suffering from a heatstroke. Chapter 593. Gao Tianyao family was one of the 5 small families in the provincial capital. It was also a traditional martial arts family. Gao Tianyao had been trained by his family to practice martial arts since he was young. All kinds of cultivation resources were given to him. Therefore, he broke through to stage 4 inner chi at a young age. It was also because Gao Tianyao grew up in an ancient martial arts family that he knew about medicinal herbs from a young age and had accumulated a lot of medical knowledge. If Hua Yan was the best Chinese medicine practitioner in the provincial capital's first class, then the genius Chinese medicine practitioner in the second class would be Gao Tianyao. Although Gao Tianyao was arrogant and liked to bully others, he had a solid foundation in Chinese medicine. This was undeniable. Humph. You can't cure her, but that doesn't mean I can't either. Western medicine can't cure her, but it doesn't mean Chinese medicine can't cure her. Gao Tianyao spoke in an enigmatic manner as he slowly walked toward Peter. Peter's face turned red with anger. He glared at Gao Tianyao and asked, "Who are you, kid? Can you save this student?" "Black devil, you don't even know the head of our provincial capital's 4 young masters, Gao Tianyao. How dare you say you've been to the university? There's no patient that our young master can't cure. Do you understand?" Gao Tianyao's 2 lackeys ran out at the right time and praised Gao Tianyao to the heavens. Gao Tianyao was very satisfied with his 2 lackeys' performance. He smiled brightly and said, "Of course I can cure this student. Stand aside and don't block my way." Gao Tianyao raised his head and glared at Pete. Pete was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Before Pete could do anything, the blonde, curly-haired Owen pulled Pete and said, "Let him do it. I don't believe he can cure an epileptic here. When he kills the patient, he will hit his own face. We don't even have to do anything." "Humph. I'll see how you're going to cure her." Peter obviously agreed with Owen. He immediately took a step back and made way for Gao Tianyao. Gao Tianyao's face became even more smug when he saw Peter taking a step back. His arrogant look would make anyone want to slap him in the face. Gao Tianyao squatted down beside the epileptic girl and carefully examined her. He found that the girl's epileptic symptoms were more severe. He didn't know if she could hold on until the ambulance arrived. Gao Tianyao pushed the girl to lie down to prevent her violent convulsions from causing bruises and bruises. Then, he loosened the girl's collar so that she could breathe normally. He pushed her head to the side so that she could vomit more easily. Although Gao Tianyao was usually arrogant and tyrannical, he did have a solid foundation in Chinese medicine. The expressions of the 5 people from St. Secondary Medical College changed as soon as they saw his series of actions. They became serious. The 5 looked carefully and found that Yao's movements were correct. They were very familiar. Gao Tian Yao's movements. His movements were effective. Yun's Gao's Gao Tian Yao. However, it could only assist in the treatment. It was impossible to wake up an epileptic with this little bit of skill. Gao Tianyao's actions stirred up the onlookers. They knew that Gao Tianyao was going to get back at them. Although Gao Tianyao had a bad reputation and was too arrogant, this was a special time. The medical college students forgot about their conflicts and unhappiness. Even Lu Jia was looking forward to Gao Tianyao waking up the fainted girl. This was because Qin Feng had taught the students to put aside their internal conflicts when facing an external enemy. They had to unite and face the external enemy together. Blarg. Suddenly, the girl vomited even more violently. Her body convulsed more violently, and she even began to roll her eyes. This sudden situation shocked Gao Tianyao. He thought that the girl would recover after a while, but he didn't expect that the girl's condition would worsen after a while. Beads of sweat appeared on Gao Tianyao's forehead. He quickly took out a row of silver needles. The silver needles were placed on the ground, and the eyes of Owen and the other 3 lit up. Could this be the legendary acupuncture? Traditional Chinese medicine? Avril's heart raced. Her eyes burned as she stared at the silver needles on the ground. No one knew what she was thinking. Gao Tianyao grabbed the silver needles in his hand and quickly inserted them into the girl's acupoints. However, the girl was convulsing violently, so Gao Tianyao pulled out the silver needles as soon as he inserted them into the acupoints. It was obvious that he had inserted them in the wrong spots. Xiao. Gao Tianyao inserted the silver needles again, but they were pulled out by Gao Tianyao again. Due to the girl's severe seizures, her body was trembling non-stop, and Gao Tianyao's accuracy and agility were still lacking. Therefore, he couldn't accurately insert the silver needles into the girl's acupoints. Gao Tianyao repeatedly inserted the silver needles, inserted them, and then pulled them out. He was so anxious that his back was drenched in sweat. Fortunately, the girl had fainted and was unconscious. Otherwise, how would she feel if she saw this scene? In short, when everyone saw Gao Tianyao insert the silver needles into the girl's body, they felt that it was very cruel. Some of them even suspected that Gao Tianyao had a grudge against the girl in the past. Was he here to take revenge on her with the silver needles? Haha! Is this Huaxia traditional Chinese medicine? Acupuncture and moxibustion. I almost died of laughter. Owen couldn't help but burst into laughter when he saw this. Peter, the black man, also vented his anger. When he saw Gao Tianyao's nervous expression, he laughed playfully. Ha! Gao Tianyao was the reason why he was expelled. Now that he saw Gao Tianyao, Qin Feng wanted to teach him a lesson. This brat was going to rebel. He almost stabbed a female student until she became an idiot. Humph. Listen carefully, brat. I'm Qiao Feng, a Chinese medicine lecturer at Provincial Capital University Medical College. Qin Feng introduced himself in a majestic manner. He felt like a leader of a country introducing himself. The noisy environment suddenly fell silent, as if the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Everyone looked at Qiao Feng as if they had dementia. A Chinese medicine lecturer at a medical college. Is this guy here to steal teacher Qin Feng's job? Does this mean that teacher Qin Feng won't come back? That's great. No teacher will steal the prettiest girl from us anymore. Qin Feng didn't know what these students were thinking. Otherwise, he would have been infuriated. Qin Feng's hand was like a pair of pliers. He didn't let go of Gao Tianyao's arm. Gao Tianyao used all his strength, but he couldn't free himself from Qin Fang's grip. Who are you? Gao Tianyao's teeth chattered in pain. He felt that Qin Feng was going to crush his arm. Gao Tianyao calmed down. He was sure that this ordinary-looking man was not an ordinary man. What kind of monster was he to be able to trap him with one hand? Student, are you deaf? I told you I'm a new Chinese medicine lecturer at Provincial Capital University Medical College. Don't you remember? Qin Feng tightened his grip as he spoke. P.S. June is the season of harvest. I've ridden Hedonist Sovereign for almost a year, and it's time to reap the rewards. I hope everyone will continue to support me. Thank you very much. In June, I guarantee 3 chapters every day. More monthly votes, more gifts, and more breakouts. As long as you're a subscriber, you'll get a free monthly vote at the beginning of the month. I hope everyone will vote for young Master Du. This is very important to him. Qin Feng sneaked a peek at his surroundings. He noticed that the students were still immersed in the shock of Gao Tianyao's kick. None of them noticed his embarrassing failure. Qin Feng felt relieved. He picked up the silver needles that Gao Tianyao had placed on the ground and waved them. Whoosh! Qin Feng's hands rose and fell, bringing along a gust of wind. He held 6 long needles in each of his hands and inserted them into 6 acupoints on the girl's body. Qin Feng's technique was simple and clean, without any fancy moves. The girl's body trembled even more violently than before. Earlier, Gao Tianyao was unable to insert needles into her body, but Qin Feng was able to insert 6 needles at the same time. It was easy to tell who was stronger between the two of them. Boom! The onlookers were in an uproar. Putting aside whether Qin Feng could really save the girl, his beautiful acupuncture technique was enough to shock everyone. He's so handsome. I've fallen in love with this new teacher. What should I do? I'm tempted too. Did you guys notice that even though he's not as handsome as teacher Qin Feng, he's very similar to teacher Qin Feng in other aspects? Qin Feng heard all the discussions in the crowd. He couldn't help but feel nervous when some students began to compare him with Qin Feng. The 5 exchange students from the St. Medical Institute were also dumbfounded. They didn't expect Provincial Capital University to have such a powerful Chinese medicine teacher. Moreover, Qin Feng was a new teacher. After a brief moment of absent-mindedness, Qin Feng once again focused on treating the girl. Qin Feng had obtained the Book of 100 Herbs and the 5 Elemental Acupuncture Technique through the system's mission. The 5 Elemental Acupuncture Technique was extensive and profound. Qin Feng could cure both common and rare diseases. Moreover, when Qin Feng's realm reached a higher level, it would no longer be a myth for him to bring the dead back to life and regrow flesh and bones. Soon, 12 silver needles were inserted into the girl's body. Qin Feng stopped. He only had the longest needle left in his hand, but he didn't hurry to insert it. It was as if he was waiting for something. Everyone held their breath as if the silver needles in Qin Feng's hand could control their breathing. As long as Qin Feng didn't insert the needle, no one dared to take a deep breath. Whoosh! Qin Feng's movement was too fast. Before anyone could figure out how he inserted the needle, the longest needle had already pierced into the girl's neck near the artery. Buzz! Buzz, buzz, buzz. When the last needle was inserted, a strange chain reaction occurred. The 12 silver needles that were inserted into the girl's body began to vibrate on their own. Including the last needle, there were a total of 13 silver needles vibrating rapidly. The sound of wind whistling could be heard. Many timid girls were so frightened that they almost cried. This is the Needle of Fate. The new teacher can also use the Needle of Fate. He's as powerful as teacher Qin Feng. The crowd was in an uproar again. Previously, Qin Feng used the 5-elemental acupuncture technique to treat Professor Ling Qin Yuan, who had a heart attack. It was also at that time that many students heard of the term needle of fate. Now that they saw the silver needles vibrating on their own, the students were speechless. Needle of fate. It's really the needle of fate. I didn't expect him to be so powerful. Humph. So what if he's powerful? Chang Axian, who was standing outside the crowd, was also shocked. However, she quickly cursed Zhao Feng. It was obvious that she still held a deep grudge against Zhao Feng. From this, one could see how important the first impression was. Owen, what's that? Peter, the brawny black man, was petrified by the scene before him. After a long time, he asked weakly, Owen, what's that? Owen was also dumbfounded. He couldn't even answer Peter's question because he had no idea what it was. Willis and Jack were still in a daze. They stared thoughtfully at the silver needles that were vibrating on the girl with epilepsy. The expression on Avril's beautiful face was unpredictable. One moment, she was pleasantly surprised, the next, she was worried. No one knew what she was thinking. After Qin Feng inserted the last needle, he stood up and leisurely leaned against a tree. He stole a glance at the beautiful girl in the short skirt in the crowd as if nothing had happened. Cough, cough. The silver needles vibrated on their own for more than 2 minutes, and the girl's convulsions disappeared. Suddenly, she coughed violently and woke up. She looked at the students around her with a puzzled expression. Why are you guys staring at me? Why am I lying on the ground? Don't tell me you guys are going to PK me. When the students heard what the chubby girl said, they were so scared that they immediately took 3 steps back. They were afraid that the chubby girl would misunderstand. When Qin Feng saw that the girl had woken up, he walked to her side and examined her body. He nodded and said, You're fine now. Your epilepsy won't happen again. Of course, if you don't believe me, you can go to the hospital for a checkup. That way, you'll feel more at ease. Really? Has my epilepsy been completely cured by you? Thank you so much. I believe you. I won't go to the hospital for a checkup. If you say I'm fine, then I'm fine. The chubby girl stared at Qin Feng with an excited expression. Her stare made Qin Feng break out in a cold sweat. Handsome, you saved my life, but I still don't know your name. Student, please pay attention. I'm the new Chinese medicine teacher at the medical college, Zhao Feng. Qin Feng's expression became stern. He was afraid that the girl couldn't resist his talent and handsomeness and would suddenly give him a bear hug. Wow! Chapter 595. Owen, what should we do now? This is so fucking frustrating. Peter walked to Owen's side and glared at the students who were reveling in the party. Willis and Jack also gathered around Owen. The 4 of them looked at each other, and none of them had a good idea. We lost this battle. Let's go. Don't embarrass yourself. Avril, who had been silent, walked past the 4 of them. Her light voice fell into the 4's ears. The 4 of them looked reluctant and helpless. However, when they saw the students who were reveling in the party, they could only lower their heads and prepare to leave. Wait! Qin Feng suddenly called out to them before the 5 of them had gone far. The 5 of them stopped and turned to look at Qin Feng. The 4 boys all had a trace of anger in their eyes. Peter, the brawny black man, stepped forward, glared at Qin Feng, and shouted, What else do you want? Peter's attitude was very arrogant. He didn't look like a loser at all. The students from Provincial Capital University were unhappy. They all rushed to Qin Feng and reprimanded Peter and the others. Humph. You're still so arrogant after losing this time. You can't cure epileptics, but our teacher Chow Fong can. I'm going to piss you off. Didn't you brag yesterday about how amazing your country's Western medicine is? Now it seems that it's just a so-so. It can't even cure epilepsy. How embarrassing. Let's see if you still dare to look down on Chinese medicine and Chinese acupuncture. Now you know how amazing we are. To tell you the truth, Teacher Chow Feng's medical skills are the worst in the Chinese medicine world. He doesn't even have the qualifications to carry the shoes of those Chinese medicine masters. You can't even beat his rubbish medical skills, and you still have the nerve to look down on our medical college. The hot-blooded students looked at Avril and the others proudly, as if they had returned from a victory. However, Qin Feng's face darkened. He really wanted to drag out the student who slandered him and ask him if he thought about his feelings when he was bragging. What's there to be proud of? The man who treated you just now should be a teacher from your medical college, right? You're so happy that a teacher won against a student? Isn't that normal? Owen suddenly retorted. Willis's eyes lit up as well, and he added, "Oh, I get it. Your provincial capital university's medical school can't produce elite students who are as good as the five of us, so you sent out teachers to fight us. Your school is really shameless to do something like this." That's right, that's right. What's there to be proud of when a teacher defeated us? What a joke. Peter and Jack also came back to their senses and retorted. Seeing that these exchange students were starting to be arrogant again, the medical school students were very unhappy. However, everyone opened and closed their mouths, but they were so sullen that they could not say anything. That black bear should be in his 30s, right? Qin Feng was infuriated by Owen, so he transferred his anger to Peter. Peter was so angry that his nostrils flared when he heard he was in his 30s. However, Willis, Owen, and the others didn't have much of an expression because when they first saw Peter, they really thought he was in his 30s. That's how he looked, don't talk nonsense. I'm only 21. I'm the youngest among the five of us. Peter glared at Qin Feng angrily. Qin Feng said with a disapproving expression, "It doesn't matter how old you are. What's important is that we're all in our early 20s. We're about the same age." "Oh yeah, does the sexy beauty beside you have a boyfriend? Do you need me to introduce him to her?" As Qin Feng spoke, his gaze fell on Avril. This woman's figure was too voluptuous, and he could not help but stare at her chest. Avril's expression turned cold. She glared at Qin Feng and said, "Sorry, you don't have to worry about my matters. What do you want to say?" "If there's nothing else, we'll leave first," Avril said as she prepared to leave. Qin Feng put away his smile and continued to say, "You guys are about the same age as me, and there should be a few who are older than me. I'm a teacher, and you guys are students. Just because of this professional identity, does it not count if I beat you guys?" Avril and the other four suddenly stopped in their tracks, and their expressions changed strangely. Qin Feng acted as if he did not see this and continued to say, "China has a large population, and there are many talented people. There are countless teachers who are younger than me, and they are all younger than you. If their medical skills are better than yours, does it mean that because they are teachers, their excellence does not count? Then how do you choose the so-called elites of the St. Medical Institute? Do you choose them based on your age or your level of Western medicine? If you guys think that my medical skills are better than yours don't count because I'm a teacher, then if I resign now and become a student in a medical institute, will you guys acknowledge my victory?" Ha! Everyone, see. This is the elite exchange student delegation of the St. Medical Institute. How laughable they are. Qin Feng had always been an unreasonable person, but he especially liked to reason with others. With just a few words, Qin Feng had made the 5 exchange students of the St. Medical Institute dumbfounded. The 5 of them were still in the same posture as when they turned around, and they looked at Qin Feng as if they had senile dementia. The students of the medical institute were also dumbfounded. They raised their heads and looked at Qin Feng with sparkling eyes, especially the female students. It was as if they had seen their Prince Charming, and they were all infatuated with him. They were hopeless. Provincial Capital University's Medical Institute had just lost a genius teacher, Qin Feng, and now a genius teacher, Qiao Feng, had arrived. You're right. We've learned our lesson. The Saint Medical Institute has lost this time, Avril suddenly said after a long while. After a long while, Avril suddenly spoke. Her voice was neither cold nor warm, and there was no emotion on her pretty face. The other 4 exchange students looked at Avril with displeasure. They hadn't expected her to suddenly say something like that. However, they couldn't say anything in response to Avril's words, other than feeling angry. Although Willis and the other 3 were unwilling to admit defeat, they had no choice but to do so after listening to Qin Feng's words. You said that you guys have lost. May I ask, how did you lose? Qin Feng looked at Avril and asked. Avril didn't answer. Owen suddenly said, we couldn't save the epilepsy patient, but you used Chinese traditional medicine to wake her up. We have lost this round. Qin Feng's calm expression turned into anger. His eyes turned red as if they were about to shoot out flames. He glared at Owen and said word by word, you think you've lost because your medical skills are inferior to mine. Moreover, you're unwilling to admit defeat. But in my opinion, it's a small matter that your medical skills aren't good enough. You're still young, and as long as you work hard, you'll make a name for yourself in the medical field sooner or later. You've lost because you've forgotten the fundamentals of medicine. When you surrounded the epileptic patient and pointed at her, proudly commenting on the cause of the student's illness, and talking about her various symptoms, have you ever thought of letting go of this learning exchange, let go of this medical competition and reputation, and call the ambulance as soon as possible to help the student, or carry her to the school's infirmary for emergency treatment? Who do you think you are? Why do you study medicine? Even if you won today's competition, even if your Saint Medical Institute won this exchange, so what? If I came a little later, that student might not even exist. What's the point of winning? Can you feel at ease? Don't forget that the fundamentals of medicine are to save the dying and help the injured. P.S. It's about to fall out of the monthly votes list. Begging for monthly votes. Chapter 596. Qin Feng's witty words flowed like pearls without pause. He spoke very well, and the exchange students all lowered their heads, looking like children who had done something wrong. His words were so touching that many of the students in the medical school shed tears. They felt that it was shameful and hateful that they didn't go up to help the strong male student carry the epileptic girl to the infirmary. Qin Feng had this kind of ability. When he talked about great principles, even he was moved to tears by himself. We've lost, and we accept our defeat wholeheartedly. Avril looked at Qin Feng again, and the light in her eyes changed. We've lost. We've really lost this round. You're very powerful. I'll challenge you personally in the upcoming exchange. The remaining 4 male students also admitted defeat one by one. Moreover, their attitudes were completely different from before. Qin Feng's sharp words struck something deep in their hearts, and they felt as if they had been enlightened. Owen even issued a letter of challenge to Qin Feng. Although he didn't say it on the surface, he had already regarded Qin Feng as the strongest opponent in this exchange. The students of the medical college looked at Qin Feng with even more admiration and reverence. They realized that Professor Qiao Feng and Professor Qin Feng were becoming more and more alike. Both of them were freaking experts at picking up girls. In such a short time, Professor Qiao Feng had already captured the hearts of more than half of the female students in the medical college. You. Well said. Chang Axian, who had been standing in the distance, couldn't help but walk up to Chao Feng and praise him. However, as soon as she finished praising Chao Feng, Chang Axian regretted her words. Why did she say such things to him? Teacher Chang Axian, you're flattering me. I'm just expressing my feelings. It's nothing special. Oh right, Teacher Chang Axian, are you free tonight? On my way here, I found a willow path with a nice environment. Why don't we go for a walk tonight and chat? Qin Feng looked at Chang Axian with a smile. Chang Axian's expression suddenly turned cold. She glared at Qin Feng and yelled, I'm busy. Chang Axian turned around and left with the 5 members of Saint Secondary Medical Association. Qin Feng shook his head and sighed, a woman's heart is like a needle at the bottom of the ocean. Teacher Chao Feng, Teacher Chang Axian isn't willing to accompany you to admire the flowers under the moonlight, but I'm willing to accompany you. Professor Chao Feng, you mentioned earlier that you are a new Chinese medicine teacher in our medical college, right? That's great. I'll take you to the class to have a look. Teacher Chao Feng, you just said so much. Are you feeling hot? Should I take off my jacket? Let me help you. The female students from the 2 classes of the medical college surrounded Qin Feng and chattered incessantly like little birds. Qin Feng stood among the flowers and looked at the different short skirts and beautiful legs of different lengths and thicknesses. He instinctively rubbed his nose to see if there was a nosebleed. Under everyone's enthusiastic reception, Qin Feng was brought to Class 1's classroom. The students of Class 1 took their seats and looked excitedly at Qin Feng on the stage. Qin Feng stood on the lectern and looked at the familiar faces below. He felt the sunlight pass through the window and fall on his handsome, now extremely ordinary face. He couldn't calm down for a long time. It was said that news traveled fast in university, but to Qin Feng, it was flying fast. He had just stood on the podium and put on a few poses that he thought were handsome and said some classic quotes that were purposely profound and suitable for picking up girls when a large group of people walked in. Ha ha ha. Professor Chao Feng, you're really a promising young man. I can tell that you're a genius at first glance. It's true. The news of you defeating the exchange student from the St. Second Medical College has spread across the campus. Your performance this time was outstanding and helped Provincial Capital University to turn the tables and vent our anger. The first person to walk into the classroom was the principal of Provincial Capital University, Wang Zhonghua. Not long ago, Wang Zhonghua looked down on Chao Feng in his office. He thought Chao Feng was a bastard who used his connections to get free food and girls. Now, Wang Zhonghua's attitude changed. He praised Qin Feng as soon as he walked into the classroom as if he was not the one who looked down on Qin Feng. After Principal Wang praised Chao Feng, the dean of the medical college, Lu Feng, and many other professors followed the principal's words and praised Chao Feng. Principal Wang, you're indeed sharp-eyed. Professor Chao Feng has just arrived, and you can already tell that his medical skills and ethics are profound. Both of you are role models for us to learn from. That's right. We heard that Professor Chao Feng defeated the exchange student, so we came here to congratulate him. It's our university's honor to have Professor Chao Feng in Provincial Capital University. It's the students' fortune to have Professor Chao Feng in the medical college. Qin Feng was almost praised as a saint by these old men. Professor Ling Qin Yuan stood to the side and didn't come over to flatter Chao Feng. However, Ling Qin Yuan's eyes flickered, and he kept staring at Qin Feng. He looked from head to toe, and from tail to tail, scaring Qin Feng. This old man couldn't have taken a fancy to him, right? Principal Wang, seniors, I'm just a Chinese medicine teacher who has just arrived. How could I trouble all of you to come and congratulate me? Even if you're here to congratulate me, it's fine as long as you're here. Why do you have to give me gifts? I won't accept money if you're giving me gifts. Aren't you insulting me? Xiao Feng chuckled as he looked at the crowd. These people looked down on Qin Feng before, but now they came to fawn over him. It was only right for Qin Feng to trick them. Principal Wang and the other old professors were obviously stunned. However, Principal Wang quickly regained his senses and said, "Ha ha ha. Professor Xiao Feng, I almost forgot that you represented Provincial Capital University and defeated the exchange student from St. Second Medical College. You've helped Provincial Capital University regain its reputation, so I'll increase your bonus this month on behalf of Provincial Capital University. It'll be given to you together with your salary." Qin Feng was not short of money, so he just mentioned it casually. Since Wang Zhonghua was willing to give him a bonus, Qin Feng naturally would not refuse. Hee, it's the fortune of us teachers to have such a wise principal like Principal Wang. Qin Feng chuckled and nodded his head. Isn't that right? Principal Wang cherishes talents the most. He's definitely the wisest principal in Provincial Capital University. What a blessing. We're all blessed. The professors, deans, Qin Feng, and Principal Wang stood there and praised each other. The students were dumbstruck when they saw this scene. Were all the older people this shameless? Principal Wang chatted with Qin Feng for a while before remembering something else. Principal Wang hurriedly ran out of the classroom. Not long after, he ran back, but this time, there was a young man by his side. The young man had blonde hair and blue eyes. He exuded the noble aura of a prince. When the young man entered the classroom, all the girls in the classroom shrieked crazily. They completely disregarded the psychological trauma the other boys, Xiao Feng, and the old men were feeling. Wang Zhonghua felt as if his eardrums were about to burst. He quickly waved his hand to stop the screaming students, then led the young man to the podium. He smiled at Qin Feng and said, "Professor Xiao Feng, this is a transfer student who just arrived today. I'll put him in class 1. I believe that this student will only learn real things if he follows you. Oh, by the way, student, introduce yourself to everyone." The young man stood in the middle of the podium with a gentlemanly smile and prepared to introduce himself. Qin Feng's gaze fell on the young man's face. He carefully examined the young man as if he wanted to see through him. Qin Feng recognized this young man. Wasn't this Prince William from Ghost Mountain in the suburbs of the provincial capital? At that time, there was also a martial artist wrapped in a black cloth bag, but he didn't appear. Hello, 9th year. My name is Prince Wei, and I come from Australia. I'm very pleased to be able to come to China to study and become a 9th year classmate. In the future, please take care of me, Prince William introduced himself in broken Chinese. After he finished his introduction, many of the students below the podium still had blank expressions. It was clear that they didn't understand what Prince Wei was saying. Qin Feng had experienced the power of Prince William's broken Chinese on Ghost Mountain. At that time, Prince William said, Qin Feng killed his little brother Williams, so he wants Qin Feng's life. In the end, Qin Feng heard it as, Qin Feng pierced his little brother William's hen, so he wants Qin Feng's dick. Qin Feng was very angry at that time. He clearly didn't pierce a hen, and he didn't have a dick. Was there something wrong with this foreigner's brain? Now that he heard Prince William's broken Chinese again, Qin Feng understood everything. This guy was introducing himself, but he changed his original name from Prince William to Prince Wei. He was clearly a member of the William family in America, but he said he was from Australia. Prince William was obviously hiding his identity. His actions made Qin Feng confirm that this person was one of the people sent by the William family to infiltrate China for a secret mission. Prince William still had his original appearance, but Qin Feng had changed his identity to Xiao Feng. Just thinking about it made Qin Feng excited. Ha ha ha. Everyone probably didn't understand Prince Wei's self-introduction, right? Then let me translate for everyone. This student is called Prince Wei. He said he came to China angrily. When he saw all of you, he thought you were all very unsophisticated. He won't be friends with you. Your statuses are too low, so don't expect to hang out with him. After Qin Feng translated Prince William's words, Principal Wang, the group of old men, and the 56 students in the audience were all shocked. They looked at Qin Feng with astonished expressions, as if they were questioning Qin Feng's translation skills. Qin Feng looked innocent and shrugged his shoulders. Don't look at me like that. I translated from Prince Wei's original words. If you don't believe me, you can ask him. Prince Wei, you're very handsome. Am I right? Qin Feng smiled as he looked at Prince William. Prince William's Chinese was terrible, and when Qin Feng was translating, he deliberately spoke very fast, so Prince William didn't understand at all. Now, Qin Feng spoke very slowly, and he even praised Prince William for his handsomeness. Prince William immediately had a good impression of Qin Feng, and he gave a gentlemanly smile as he nodded at Qin Feng. Teacher, you're absolutely right. P.S. Thank you, Nightstorm and Chi Chi at Baiduo Goddess for their tips. The two alliance masters of this book are both cute. Fourth update, I look forward to the birth of a new alliance master. Not only was he not angry, but he also had a smug expression on his face. Wang Zhonghua didn't know if Qiao Feng had a grudge against this foreign student. How could he toy with this student like this? Principal Wang couldn't stand it anymore. He patted Prince William, who was standing on the podium with his head held high and chest puffed out like an idiot, and said, "All right, you've already introduced yourself. Go down and find an empty seat to sit down and listen to the class." Prince William nodded at Wang Zhonghua, then looked at Qin Feng. He felt that Qin Feng was the only good person in the class. He was very friendly to him and even took the initiative to help him explain the views of his classmates. Teacher Qiao Feng, thank you for your hard work. Prince William bowed slightly to Qiao Feng, then walked down the podium with his head held high. Ever since he entered the classroom, that pretentious prick had not fallen behind. Qiao Feng, then you should get to know your classmates first and build a good relationship with them. We won't disturb your class anymore. Wang Zhonggua's purpose for coming here this time had been accomplished. He waved his hand and led the group of old antiques away. Lin Qingyuan followed at the back of the group. When he left, he looked back at Qin Feng a few times with a reluctant look on his face. This scared Qin Feng to death. Don't tell me this old man really likes me. After the group of people left, Qin Feng began to chat with the others. In fact, Qin Feng was very familiar with the students in the class. However, to avoid exposing his identity, Qin Feng still asked everyone to introduce themselves one by one. When Hua Yan and Qiao Shi stood up to introduce themselves, Qin Feng deliberately made things difficult for the two girls. His words were full of flirting with the two girls. At this time, Avril and the other 5 exchange students had already returned to their student dormitory. As soon as they arrived at the entrance, they saw Professor Mike and a group of lecturers from the St. Medic Institute waiting for them at the entrance. Professor Mike. Avril and the other 4 walked up to the professor and the lecturers and greeted the professor dejectedly. They didn't need Professor Mike to say anything, they already knew why Professor Mike brought them here. There's no need to say anything. I already know what happened. Let's go upstairs first, then we'll discuss the specific plan. Professor Mike waved his hand, signaling the 5 of them to stop talking. Then, he turned around and walked into the student dormitory. The group of people entered the dormitory in a grandiose manner and entered Professor Mike's room. The room was very spacious, and the furnishings inside were clean and simple. It didn't seem crowded even with a dozen people standing in the room. After entering the room, Professor Mike sat down while the other lecturers and Avril and the other four stood to the side. After talking about the defeat, Professor Mike yawned and said, "Sigh. I'm getting old, and I'm always sleepy. Everyone, go back to your own business. Rest early, Professor Mike. We'll take our leave now." The representatives of the lecturers bid farewell to Professor Mike and left the room with Willis and the other four. Avril walked at the back of the crowd and was responsible for closing the door. When she closed the door, Professor Mike nodded at the door and Avril nodded back. It seemed to be a special way of communication. The St. Medic University had already decided that Professor Mike would personally lead the team to challenge Xiao Feng tomorrow. However, Qin Feng was still unaware of this as he was enjoying his time in the university. "Student Hua Yan, don't go yet. I want to talk to you alone." The bell rang and the students walked out of the classroom in twos and threes. Many female students took the initiative to invite Qin Feng to watch a movie or have dinner that night, but Qin Feng tactfully rejected them. The female students thought that Xiao Feng was really a righteous man, and they admired him more and more. However, when they heard that he wanted to make Hua Yan stay after school, they turned around and ran out of the classroom angrily. Bang! Instead of Hua Yan, a mountain came to Qin Feng. When Lu Jia stood in front of Qin Feng and slammed his palm on Qin Feng's desk, Qin Feng wanted to kick him to death. "Hey! I'm warning you, don't think that I'm afraid of you just because you're a teacher. I'm telling you, I'm the boss of Class 1, and Hua Yan is my sister-in-law. If you dare to do anything to her, I'll kill you right here and now." Lu Jia glared at Xiao Feng furiously. He had tolerated Xiao Feng for the entire afternoon because Qin Feng had been flirting with Hua Yan and Xiao Shishir in class. "Student, you'd better speak nicely to me. Otherwise, I'll tell your dad about you wrecking his Buick." Qin Feng looked at Lu Jia indifferently. He thought that Lu Jia had grown a pair of wings. Lu Jia's inner chi was broken instantly, and sweat beaded on his forehead. He looked at Qin Feng nervously and doubtfully. "Oh my God, Professor Xiao Feng, I was just joking with you. What do you think of my cold jokes? It's not that I'm bragging, but I'm the king of cold jokes in class." Lu Jia changed his attitude and tried to please Qin Feng. Halfway through his speech, Lu Jia suddenly thought of something. He looked at Qin Feng vigilantly and asked, "Huh? How did you know that my old man's car was smashed by someone? Who are you? Are you kidding me? Did you really wreck my old man's car?" "I just said it casually to scare you. I didn't expect to really bump into you. Student Lu Jia, I have something on you. Be careful next time." Qin Feng looked at Lu Jia with a smirk. Lu Jia straightened his back and said angrily, "Humph. My old man found out a long time ago that his car was wrecked. A few days ago, he hung me upside down on a tree and whipped me for a day and a night. It's all in the past now. Don't you dare use it to threaten me. Let me tell you, if you dare to mess with my sister-in-law again, I won't forgive you." Qin Feng stared at Lu Jia blankly. He wondered if Lu Jia was picked up from a garbage dump. The family's punishment was too harsh. However, Qin Feng felt warm when he saw how protective Lu Jia was of Hua Yan. He knew that Lu Jia was doing this for his sake. "Fatty, you keep calling Hua Yan sister-in-law. Who's your big brother?" Qin Feng wanted to confirm it again. If Lu Jia was his big brother, Qin Feng would have stomped him to death on the spot. Chapter 598. Humph. There's only one man in this world who can be my big brother Lu Jia's man, and that's teacher Qin Feng. Lu Jia patted his chest proudly. Tears welled up in Qin Feng's eyes, and he felt like crying. Did you see that? This is a true brother. It had been a long time since Qin Feng last saw Lu Jia. Hearing such touching words from Lu Jia as soon as he saw him, Qin Feng was moved. He remembered the orange great overlord slash that he obtained from Sima Haoran when he annihilated the Sima family in Acropolis City. The broadsword was 2 meters long, comparable to the green dragon crescent blade that Qin Feng had previously obtained. The last time Lu Jia and Qin Feng went to the warrior town's blacksmith shop, Lu Jia had his eyes on the green dragon crescent blade, which wasn't even a spiritual weapon. Qin Feng had purposely left this orange great overlord slash for Lu Jia, and now he was going to give it to him. However, after Qin Feng flipped his hand over a few times, he suddenly realized that he had temporarily lost contact with the Hedonist sovereign system, so he couldn't take out the spirit equipment. Hey! Why are you flipping your palm over and over again? Are you trying to show off to me? If you have the guts, let's go out and fight. Lu Jia misunderstood Qin Feng's intention, but Qin Feng wasn't angry. He smiled at Lu Jia and said, "Classmate Lu Jia, I think you're a martial artist. I have an orange quality overlord's chop at home. The handle of the overlord's chop is 1 meter long, and the broadsword is more than 1 meter long. The entire overlord's chop emits a faint orange glow, and its blade is sharp enough to cut through iron as if it were mud. I think it's very suitable for martial artists of your size. I'll give it to you in 2 days." Lu Jia, who was yelling at Qin Feng a second ago, was petrified. Orange-grade spiritual weapon? It was a rare treasure that even the 4 major families in the provincial capital couldn't get their hands on. Lu Jia was a stage 4 inner chi martial artist now, but he didn't even have a decent weapon. Lu Jia's expression changed when he heard Qin Feng's words. He rubbed his chubby hands and smiled at Qin Feng. "Ahahaha. Teacher Qiao Feng, why didn't you say so earlier? Otherwise, I wouldn't have offended you. Did you want to go on a date with Hua Yan? Don't worry, I'll take care of this. I have a good relationship with Hua Yan, so I'll put in a good word for you in front of her in the future. I'll make sure you two are a couple." Qin Feng's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. He really wanted to take back what he had said earlier. A brother like Lu Jia, sigh. He had misjudged Qiao Feng Laosher. "What's wrong with you? Say something. When are you going to give me the overlord's chop? Why don't I go back with you and take it from your house?" Lu Jia waved his hand in front of Qin Feng's eyes. He thought Qin Feng was asleep. Qin Feng snapped out of his rage and glared at Lu Jia. "Get lost. I'd rather keep my overlord slash at home to chop vegetables than give it to you." Qin Feng was furious. He left Lu Jia behind and walked out of the classroom. Hua Yan was nowhere to be seen. Qin Feng called out to Hua Yan. He wanted to give her the fire spirit pill to see if she could become a dual attribute demonic cultivator. It seemed like he could only find another opportunity to give it to Hua Yan. "Miss Sure, wait for me." Qin Feng could not find Hua Yan, but he saw Qiao Sure who was not far away. Qiao Sure was like a fairy who had been forgotten in the mortal world. She stopped and turned around to look at Qiao Feng. "Professor Qiao Feng, what's the matter?" "Hee, it's nothing." "Oh right, are you free tonight? I'll treat you to dinner and a movie." When Qin Feng saw Qiao Sure, he recalled the scene in Devil Beast Mountain not long ago. Qiao Shure's slender body floated in the air. Her fine black hair fluttered in the wind as she summoned powerful demonic beasts. If Qin Feng did not see it with his own eyes, he would never believe that Qiao Shure had such a strange ability. "I'm sorry, I have something to do tonight. You should find someone else." Qiao Shure blushed. She thought Qiao Feng was confessing to her. "I see. I'll ask you out next time." Sure, where's your house? I'll send you back. Qin Feng still had a mission related to Qiao Shishir. He needed to gain Qiao Shishir's trust. Qin Feng had taken advantage of Qiao Shishir at Devil Beast Mountain and they almost had sex. Qin Feng felt that it was impossible for him to gain Qiao Shishir's trust with his original identity. Therefore, he planned to use Qiao Feng's identity to get in touch with Qiao Shishir again. Okay, let's go together. Qiao Shishir did not reject Qin Feng this time. This surprised Qin Feng because it did not fit Qiao Shishir's personality. Qiao Shishir seemed to have noticed Qiao Feng's confusion. She smiled faintly, like a white lotus blooming on a snowy mountain, and said, "It's because our surnames are Qiao." Qiao Shishir's words came out of nowhere. Then, the smile on her face disappeared, and a trace of pain and disappointment flashed across her beautiful eyes. Qin Feng had no idea what was going through her mind. Looking at her lonely face, Qin Feng wanted to hug her and comfort her. The two of them walked side by side on the streets and alleys. It was as if time had stopped and they were the only ones in the world. Qin Feng felt that he had been deceived by Qiao Shishir. Qiao Shishir promised Qin Feng to send her home, but Qin Feng felt like he was walking alone. Qiao Shishir lowered her head and did not speak a word. She never took the initiative to speak to Qin Feng. Sometimes, Qin Feng even felt that this girl was invisible. He could not understand her and could not integrate into her world. They quickly turned around and ran, not even caring about their big brother. The green-haired man covered his bruised eyes and screamed in pain. Qin Feng ignored him and looked at Qiao Shishir. "It's okay now. Don't be afraid." Chapter 599. Naturally, Qin Feng didn't care about the two hooligans. Even if they called for more than 100 hooligans, Qin Feng alone could take care of them. "Classmate Shishir, do you live near here? The security here isn't very good. I'll walk you to your house. Otherwise, I'll be worried," Qin Feng said to Qiao Shishir. Qiao Shishir gripped the hem of her shirt tightly with an unnatural expression on her face. Before she could say anything, the two hooligans who ran away earlier came back angrily. "Motherfucker, how dare you touch our brother Greenhair? You're courting." The two hooligans rushed to the entrance of the alley, but before they could finish their threats, they suddenly ran away again. Qin Feng and Qiao Shishir were dumbfounded by their strange behavior. They looked at each other with blank expressions on their faces. Soon, Qin Feng heard a flurry of hurried footsteps rushing in their direction. Based on the sound alone, there were at least 20 to 30 people. The two lackeys that had just run away rushed to the mouth of the alley again. They each had a wooden stick in their hands. Behind them, 20 or so people quickly rushed over. Seeing this scene, Qin Feng understood. Those two idiotic lackeys had come to the front to show off, but when they realized that the reinforcements behind them hadn't caught up, they ran back in fear to wait for reinforcements halfway through their threat. "Motherfucker, you dare to touch our brother Greenhair. You're looking for death, brat." The two lackeys finally finished saying the vicious words they didn't dare to say before. Facing over 20 fiendish hooligans, Qin Feng had the urge to laugh at this moment. Qiao Shishir wasn't as relaxed as Qin Feng. She looked a little nervous as she hid behind Qin Feng. Her eyes darted back and forth as if she was looking for something. "Is this the brother Green Hat you were talking about?" Qin Feng pointed at Greenhair, who was lying on the ground with a bloody nose and a swollen face. He shook his head and sighed, "Sigh. I don't know what kind of big brother you are. Even your hooligans call you Brother Green Hat. How many green hats do you think you've worn? If I'm not mistaken, this hooligan has even slept with sister-in-law." Qin Feng looked at the lackey with the wooden stick. The lackey was so scared that his face turned pale. He hastily yelled, "Nonsense! I've never slept with sister-in-law. It was sister-in-law who seduced me that time." Voila! The crowd suddenly burst into an uproar. More than 20 big hoodlums' gazes fell on that underling, and their eyes were filled with shock. The underling holding the wooden stick also realized that he had said the wrong thing. He was so scared that he was drenched in sweat, as if he had been drenched in a heavy rain. "Stinking brat, you dare to slander me. Brothers, don't listen to his nonsense. He beat our green hat. Baw baw, green hair bro until his face is swollen." They chased after the hooligans in a frenzy and attacked them as soon as they saw them. Many of the hooligans' legs were pecked by the old hens, and their bones were exposed. More people were chased by wild dogs all over the street and were gored into the sky by the horns of bulls. That green-haired bro was the most miserable one. Since he had broken his leg earlier, he couldn't run away at all. His body was covered by the sparrows, and he was about to be swallowed alive by them. Seeing this scene, Chin Fong was dumbfounded. Back in Devil Beast Mountain, Chin Fong had witnessed Xiao Shishir's strength. Initially, Chin Fong thought that Xiao Shishir was only powerful in the deep mountains and forests where wild beasts roamed. He did not expect her to be so powerful in the city. Do not underestimate these little chicks and ducklings. After being controlled by Xiao Shishir, they became members of a suicide squad. Their attacks multiplied, and it seemed like their only goal was to defeat their enemies. Even if they were killed by their enemies, they would at least give their enemies a peck or a blow. Sure, it's about time. Stop. Chin Fong thought his wind blade martial skill was cruel and could cut off limbs with ease. But now, he saw the hooligans being attacked by the frenzied fowls. They were beyond recognition, and their blood flowed like a river. Xiao Shishir's body slowly floated in the air. Her eyes were empty and lifeless, and she had completely lost consciousness. Chin Fong called her a few times, but there was no response. Seeing that some of the hooligans were about to be eaten by the fowls, Chin Fong hastily grabbed Xiao Shishir and pulled her back to the ground. Xiao Shishir was still unconscious, so Chin Fong slapped the back of her neck and knocked her out. Buzz! Xiao Shishir fainted, and the scene around her changed drastically. The frenzied fowls stopped attacking and stood rooted to the ground. A few seconds later, they looked around in bewilderment at their companions and other animals. Could it be that they had transmigrated? Woof! 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 The stray dogs were scared out of their wits. They barked crazily to calm themselves down. Wasn't I paired up with a female dog on the street? Why the hell did I get caught and brought into the zoo? The wild dogs barked, and the other poultry scurried in all directions in fear. In his lifetime, Chin Fong had finally seen a scene of chickens flying and dogs leaping, and the intense scene of poultry fighting each other. Chin Fong shifted his gaze back to Xiao Shishir. She was lying in Chin Feng's arms. Her face was pale, and she slept quietly like a forgotten fairy. Chin Fong couldn't help but caress Xiao Shishir's face. Her skin was smooth and soft, and he couldn't help but caress her face again. After countless caresses, Xiao Shishir suddenly opened her eyes. Chin Fong was so startled that he almost threw her out of his arms. Ahem. Student Shishir, you're finally awake. You gave me a fright just now. Why did you suddenly float in the air? Did you see those frenzied fowls? They saved us. Chin Fong was using Xiao Feng's identity. Even if he knew that Xiao Shishir was a spirit beast master, he couldn't show it. Xiao Shishir shyly struggled out of Chin Feng's arms. Her expression was complicated. After hesitating for a while, Xiao Shishir said to Chin Fong, "Teacher Xiao Fong, I told you that I can read animals' language. Do you really believe me?" "Of course, it's true. Did student Shir call those fowls here? Qin Feng pretended to be enlightened. He was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets. Xiao Shir's expression was calm, as if this ability was nothing out of the ordinary to her. Teacher Qiao Feng, my house is not far from here. Let's go back and talk. Xiao Shir took the initiative to invite Qin Feng to her house. Qin Feng was overjoyed, but he pretended to be serious and said, Student Shir, it's quite late now. Is it convenient for me to go to your house? Will your parents misunderstand us? Xiao Shir suddenly stopped. Qin Feng saw her back tremble a few times. Then, Xiao Shir's cold voice sounded, they're not home. Come with me. Qin Feng sensed that Xiao Shir's mood had suddenly dropped. He couldn't figure out the reason, so he stopped asking and followed behind Xiao Shir. Xiao Shir's house was not far away. They just had to walk to the end of the alley and turn a corner. It was a large courtyard house. Vegetables and fruit trees were planted in the courtyard, and the ground was very clean. Qin Feng smelled the fragrance of flowers as soon as he entered the house. There were 5 rooms in the courtyard house, and Xiao Shir was staying in the smallest room. Just as the two of them arrived at the door, an old lady walked out from the main room. Shir, you're back, right? You brought a friend home today. It's a boy. Xiao Shir blushed and quickly went to support the old lady. Grandma Lu, it's getting dark. Don't go out and walk around. It'll be bad if you bump into something. It's fine. Your Grandma Lu is still very healthy. Even if she falls, she can still get up and run. Grandma Lu was a humorous and amiable old lady. She walked to Qin Feng with Xiao Shir's help. Grandma Lu looked at Qin Feng from head to toe and said with a smile, I'm getting old and my memory is getting worse. I've looked at this young man a few times, but I can't remember his face. Grandma Lu accidentally blurted out the truth, and it made Xiao Shir laugh. Grandma Lu, it's not that you have a bad memory, but this is the new Chinese medicine teacher in our class. He looks so ordinary that I still can't remember what he looks like. Qin Feng felt helpless when he heard Xiao Shir and Grandma Lu talking about him. He wondered how ordinary his face was. After thinking for a long time, Qin Feng realized that he had forgotten his current face. Chapter 600. Xiao Shir was amused by Professor Qiao Fang's sullen expression. She held Grandma Lu's arm and said, Grandma Lu, that old man Zhang you mentioned is a quack. His fortune-telling, talismans, and elixirs are all lies. Professor Qiao Feng is a real Chinese medicine teacher. He's different. Oh. So that's how it is. All right, as long as Shir likes it, Grandma Lu said with a peaceful smile. Xiao Shir nodded instinctively. Then, she realized something was wrong. She quickly shook her head and said, What are you talking about, Grandma Lu? What's there to like? Xiao Shir's pretty face began to blush. She looked extremely adorable under the sunset glow. Grandma Lu patted Xiao Shir's hand and looked at Qiao Feng with a smile. Teacher Qiao Feng, you're really lucky. Shir has been renting a house here for more than a year, and I've never seen her bring anyone home, not even a female classmate. But today, she brought you home, a male teacher. I've heard that times have changed. Wouldn't a teacher be arrested for dating a student? Grandma Lu looked at Qin Feng worriedly. Qin Feng and Xiao Shir didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Grandma Lu, you can call me Xiao Feng. Now that the world has changed, even grandfathers and granddaughters don't care, let alone a teacher and a student. Grandma Lu's expression changed drastically. She quickly took 2 steps back and looked at Qin Feng cautiously. How can you do this? Then. Are you interested in Grandma Lu? The corner of Qiao Feng's mouth twitched, but he didn't say anything. Grandma Lu suddenly laughed. She grabbed Xiao Shishir's hand and placed it in Qin Feng's big hand. Grandma Lu is joking with you. Look at how scared you are. Even if you like Grandma Lu, she won't like you. I can't remember your face. I can't recognize you on the street. Qin Feng had the urge to turn around and leave. But when he remembered that he was still holding Xiao Shishir's soft hand, he decided to bear with it for a while. Grandma Lu continued, Little Feng, Shishir is a good girl. She's diligent and thrifty. She's kind-hearted. You have to treat her well. Otherwise, Grandma Lu won't like it. Xiao Shishir's hand was so soft that it felt like it was boneless. Qin Feng shamelessly grabbed her hand and refused to let go. The blush on Xiao Shishir's face deepened. She tried to break free from Qin Feng's grip, but when she saw Grandma Lu's happy and satisfied expression, she stopped herself. Don't worry Grandma Lu, I'll take good care of Shishir, Qin Feng said with a smile. Okay, Grandma has high hopes for you too. Then you two go into the house and enjoy yourselves. Grandma is going out to do square dancing. Many old men are waiting for me. Grandma Lu looked at the two of them meaningfully, then walked out of the courtyard with a smile. Whoosh! As soon as Grandma Lu left, Xiao Shishir shook off Qin Feng's hand and stormed into the room angrily. Qin Feng felt a little guilty and followed them in. Xiao Shishir's bedroom was small, but it was clean and tidy. The room was filled with a faint fragrance that smelled like Xiao Shishir. When Qin Feng entered the room, he felt as if he had returned to the ancient times. Xiao Shishir's room was devoid of modern household appliances. There was no television, refrigerator, washing machine, gas stove, or microwave oven. There was a small stove in the corner with some firewood beside it. Qin Feng guessed that Xiao Shishir used the stove to cook and bathe every day. Take a seat. I hope you don't mind my poor family. Xiao Shishir didn't mind the shabbiness of her room. She took a pot of tea and placed it on the small stove to boil the water. Xiao Shishir squatted on the floor with her buttocks facing Qin Feng. She was concentrating on lighting the stove. Qin Feng looked at Xiao Shishir's back and felt a little restless. He quickly regained his composure and went to help Xiao Shishir start the fire. Shishir, let me help you. Qin Feng took the matchbox from Xiao Shishir's hand and started the fire. Xiao Shishir's body was pressed against Qin Feng's, so she felt a little uncomfortable. She got up and went to sit on her clean bed. The setting sun shone through the window and shone on Xiao Shishir's body, painting her with a pink hue. Xiao Shishir sat quietly on the bed with her head lowered. She was lost in her thoughts, and her figure gradually became transparent like the air. As a hedonistic young master, Qin Feng was tormented to death by starting a fire. When he finally lit the stove, his face was covered with ashes. You asked me about the poultry just now. I can tell you that I summoned them. I've been able to communicate with animals since I was young. I told others about this when I was very young, but they didn't believe me. They laughed at me and distanced themselves from me. After that, I didn't tell anyone. I hid this secret in my heart and didn't tell anyone. Xiao Shishir was still sitting on the bed. She seemed to be talking to herself. Her head was lowered, and no one could see her expression. Qin Feng had already started a fire. He pulled over a small stool and sat by the stove. So you really can communicate with animals. I believe you, you're really too amazing. This kind of ability is very magical, even I want to have it. Qin Feng's reaction was out of Xiao Shishir's expectation. She thought Qin Fen would be frightened by her ability. She thought he would cry and point at her, calling her a monster, just like her childhood friends did. However, Qin Feng was not afraid. Instead, he admired her ability. Could it be a way for him to pick up girls? Are you telling the truth? Qiao Shishir raised her head and looked at Qin Feng with uncertainty. She had been a loner since she was young and rarely interacted with others. However, Qiao Shishir could read people's eyes and read their thoughts. Of course it's true. I'm very envious of your ability to communicate with animals. You can even control their minds and make them fight for you. It's cool just thinking about it. Qin Feng looked at Qiao Shishir seriously. Qiao Shishir could see the sincerity in Qin Feng's eyes. He was telling the truth. Qiao Shishir was inexplicably happy. She did not have any friends. It was not that she did not want to make friends, but she was afraid of being hurt by her friends. However, Qiao Feng seemed to be different from others. Qiao Shishir wanted to befriend him because she was too lonely. Professor Qiao Feng, your Chinese medicine skills are amazing. I've only seen 2 people who can use the needle manipulation technique. One is you, and the other is. Qiao Shishir paused, and a complicated expression appeared on her face. She suddenly thought of Qin Feng. She was angry and worried at the same time. Qin Feng had taken advantage of Qiao Shishir, but he had also saved her life. Qiao Shishir did not know how to face Qin Feng again. If it was possible, Qiao Shishir hoped that she would never see him again. She wanted this to be a sealed secret. Who is the other person? Are you familiar with him? Qin Feng was eager to know how important Qin Feng was in Qiao Shishir's heart. Qiao Shishir shook her head and lowered her head again. Let's not talk about him. We are not familiar with each other. Qin Feng was slightly disappointed, but he quickly became happy. Qiao Shishir did not have a good impression of Qin Feng, but she still had a good impression of Qiao Feng. Shishir, are you born with the ability to communicate with animals? How do you communicate with them? Can I learn it? Qin Feng's interest was piqued. He felt that Qiao Shishir's summoning ability was too powerful. If he could learn it, he would become even more powerful. Qiao Shishir raised her head again. When she mentioned the summoning ability, Qiao Shishir's beautiful eyes shone brightly. Regardless of what others thought of Qiao Shishir's summoning ability, she was very fond of it. I was born with this ability. Every time I communicate with animals, I can calm down and not think about anything else. It's as if the world has quieted down, and there are only me and the animals left. At that time, I can hear their whispers and become part of their living world. I can talk to them, and they like me very much. We are good friends. As for whether you can learn this ability or not, I'm not sure. But if you want to learn, I'll be happy to teach you. Of course, Qin Feng was happy to learn. He immediately ran to Qiao Shishir's side and sat down. Qiao Shishir was startled. This was the first time a man entered her room and sat on her bed. Qiao Shishir couldn't get used to it. What's wrong? Then I'll stand and learn. Qin Feng was also startled by Qiao Shishir's action. He seemed to understand Qiao Shishir's concerns, so he stood aside. After Qiao Shishir regained her composure, she felt a little guilty. Teacher Qiao Feng was able to accept her strange ability and was willing to stand up for her when she was in danger. But now, he just sat on her bed, and you're making a fuss out of nothing. It's fine, Teacher Qiao Feng. Please sit down. It's tiring to stand up. Qiao Shishir carefully sat back on the bed. Her hands clutched the hem of her clothes nervously. Qin Feng didn't stand on ceremony and sat down next to Qiao Shishir. There were still a few centimeters between them. Their bodies weren't touching, but from a distance, it looked like they were leaning against each other. Qin Feng smelled the fragrance from Qiao Shishir's body and enjoyed it very much. Qiao Shishir sensed a man's scent in the room. It made her feel uncomfortable, and her little heart thumped non-stop. Shishir, are you feeling hot? Do you want me to help you take off your coat? Qin Feng looked at Qiao Shishir with a smile. Qiao Shishir was startled. She quickly waved her hands. Oh. I am not hot. I'll teach you how to feel the sounds of nature. Qiao Shishir didn't dare to take off her coat. She lived a hard life. She didn't even wear a sweater or thermal underwear under her cotton-padded jacket. She only wore a white camisole. It would be very awkward if she took off her coat. Of course, Qin Feng wouldn't take off Qiao Shishir's coat. He wanted to leave a good impression on Qiao Shishir. Qin Feng hastily sat up and said, "All right, let's begin." Qiao Shishir heaved a sigh of relief when she saw Qiao Feng had calmed down. She looked at Qiao Feng and couldn't help but burst into laughter. Pfft. Qiao Shishir rarely laughed, but today, it was as if she had laughed all the time she had in the past year. Qin Feng was lost in thought as he looked at her smiling face that was as beautiful as a blooming lotus. Shishir, what's wrong? Are you laughing at me? Qin Feng looked at Qiao Shishir in puzzlement after he regained his senses. Qiao Shishir covered her mouth and tried to stop laughing, but her thin shoulders were still trembling. Ha! Professor Qiao Feng, your face is covered with pot dust. You look like a dirty cat. Qiao Shishir laughed so hard that she couldn't catch her breath. Qin Feng finally knew why she was laughing. Qin Feng had always thought that a girl like Qiao Shishir would be difficult to get along with, let alone make her laugh. However, after spending some time with her, Qin Feng realized that he was gravely mistaken. Qiao Shishir didn't have any friends, and she didn't have a childhood. Therefore, she wasn't funny at all. I must have gotten it when I started the fire. I've made a fool of myself in front of you. I'm going to wipe it with water. Where's your mirror? Qin Feng was inexplicably happy when he saw Qiao Shishir was so happy. Chapter 601. You don't have a mirror. No way. Don't you dress yourself up every day? Qin Feng was stunned. I don't dress up much. I just fetch a bucket of water from the courtyard and tidy my hair while looking at my reflection in the water, said Qiao Shishir. Qin Feng's eyes widened in disbelief. Is this girl really going to live like a savage? But she's still so beautiful even if she doesn't dress up. If she dresses up meticulously, she'll be mesmerizing. Forget it then, I won't wipe it anymore. Qin Feng didn't mind. After all, his face was too ordinary. A little more dust would leave a deeper impression. Qiao Shishir hesitated for a moment before she got off the bed and took a white towel. She dipped it in the water bucket and returned to Qin Feng's side. Professor Qiao Feng, if you don't mind, I can help you wipe it off. Qin Feng sat on the edge of the bed while Qiao Shishir stood in front of him. When he looked up, he could see Qiao Shishir's chest. It wasn't as big as Hua Yan and Yan Wushuang's, but it was small and exquisite. Qin Feng swallowed a few times. That's not good. I'll have to trouble Miss Shishir then. Qin Feng pretended to be shy. Qiao Shishir blushed and bent down to wipe Qin Feng's face with the towel. The towel was cold, but Qin Feng didn't mind. Qiao Shishir wiped Qin Feng's face carefully and carefully. Her palm would accidentally touch Qin Feng's face. It was soft and smooth, and Qin Feng enjoyed it very much. Qiao Shishir felt an electric current coursing through her body. She was so shy that her hands trembled. She touched Qin Feng's face more and more frequently. Both of them were very close to each other. Qin Feng looked at Xiao Shishi's face closely. It was fair and flawless. When he moved his gaze downward, he could see her beautiful collarbone and the white skin under her collar. What surprised Qin Feng was that Xiao Shishi was only wearing a white camisole under her cotton-padded jacket even though it was already winter. She looked extremely alluring. Could it be that this lass is deliberately teasing me? Okay. Just as Qin Feng's wicked thoughts sprouted in his mind, Xiao Shishi grabbed the towel and went to wash herself. Looking at Xiao Shishi's back as she squatted on the floor, Qin Feng's heart skipped a beat. It would be great if he could have such a good woman. After washing the towel, Xiao Shishi returned to the bed. The flush on her face had receded, and she had regained her usual composure. It was as if nothing had happened. Teacher Xiao Feng, why don't I teach you how to sense all living things? Now that Xiao Shishi was talking about the main topic, Qin Feng cleared his mind and said, "All right, let's begin." After entering the teaching atmosphere, the two of them had already calmed down. Xiao Shishi began to communicate with nature. She seemed to have transformed into another person. Her expression was blank, and her hair fluttered in the wind. Xiao Shishi felt that she had finally found a companion, and her attitude towards Qin Feng had changed. Qin Feng rubbed his stomach. He was indeed hungry. Sure, you go wash the vegetables, and I'll cook them later. Let's work together. Won't it be tiring? Qin Feng smiled and said, No, it's not tiring. Xiao Shishi's face blushed slightly. Fortunately, it wasn't that obvious under the moonlight. Xiao Shishi nodded and hastily grabbed some vegetables and ran out of the courtyard. It turned out that this girl lived here. She had to go to the well in the courtyard to fetch water and wash her clothes. Qin Feng went to the small stove. The water in the teapot was almost dry, and the firewood in the small stove was almost finished. Qin Feng hurriedly took the teapot away and found a few pieces of firewood to start a fire. Qin Feng picked up the matchbox and put it back. He was a man who possessed the destructive fire, so he had to use the coolest way to start a fire. Although he had lost contact with the Hedonist sovereign system, Qin Feng's flames of destruction weren't stored in the system. When he killed the flame wolf at Devil Beast Mountain, he swallowed the flame wolf's demon core. That flame of destruction was Qin Feng's own fire seed. Rumble. Qin Feng glanced at the door. Seeing that Xiao Shishi hadn't returned, he quickly sent a ball of fire into the stove. The fire of destruction was extremely powerful. It rose 3 meters high in an instant and burned the roof. Qin Feng was shocked by the scene in front of him. The place where the fire came into contact with the fire spread rapidly. At this rate, the whole house would be burned to ashes. Qin Feng came back to his senses. He quickly picked up a large water jar in the corner of the house and poured all the cold water into the fire. However, when the water came into contact with the fire of destruction, it instantly evaporated into steam and disappeared. The raging fire was not damaged in the slightest. Damn, it's not a good thing that the fire seed is too strong. Qin Feng immediately came to his senses. This was the fire of destruction. How could ordinary well water extinguish it? Qin Feng had a feeling that he was hanging by a thread. He wanted to ask Little Pig for help, but the system couldn't contact it. Qin Feng quickly tried to control the fire with his mind. The fire seed, which was flying everywhere, began to gather according to Qin Feng's will. Finally, it flew back into Qin Feng's body. Qin Feng was stunned by the scene in front of him. He had fought with the fire of destruction on Devil Beast Mountain, but at that time, he could only release the fire seed. He couldn't control it. Could this have something to do with him entering the mirror of all creation? He could feel all things, but he couldn't control them. Qin Feng still couldn't figure it out, but he didn't have the mood to think about it. He noticed that Chow Shi was standing at the door, looking at the situation in the house with a blank face. The house looked like it had been robbed. There was a lot of water on the floor, and some pots, bowls, ladles and other utensils were knocked to the ground in Qin Feng's haste. Teacher Chow Feng, what did you do just now? Chow Shi put the washed dishes to the side and turned on the light in the room. Ah! As soon as the light was turned on, Chow Shi covered her mouth and screamed, "The stove! Where's the stove? The large water jar is gone. How can this be?" Chow Shi was shocked. She went out to wash the dishes for less than 5 minutes, and when she came back, the whole house had changed. If it wasn't for Chow Feng staying in the room, Chow Shi would have thought that the house had been robbed. Qin Feng regained his senses. He looked at Chow Shi with a puzzled expression and said, "Shi, what stove? What large water jar? What nonsense are you talking about?" "I'm not talking nonsense. Did you forget that there's a small stove and a large water tank in the corner of my house? When you entered the house, you even lit the stove. Also, the teapot is gone, right? The basin I used to wash your face is gone." Chow Shi looked aggrieved. She was so anxious that she was about to cry. The things she mentioned just now were the big things in the house. Qin Feng knew that the things that disappeared were melted by the fire of destruction. Now, they had turned into water-pure qi and drifted away to God knows where. Qin Feng would never admit to such a thing. He looked at Chow Shi with a straight face and said, "Shi, are you sick? Let me feel your forehead. Oh my, why is it so hot? You must have a fever. You don't have a stove or a water jar in your house." "I haven't seen it since I entered the house." Qin Feng's hand was still on Chow Shi's forehead. It was so comfortable to touch that Chow Shi forgot about the stove and the water jar. She blushed and blushed. Qin Feng was afraid that Chow Shi would continue to question him. He quickly pushed Chow Shi onto the bed, removed her shoes, and covered her with the blanket. After he was done, Qin Feng turned around and ran out of the house. When he was at the entrance of the courtyard, he said, "Shi, it's late. Teacher has gone back. You should rest early. You'll be fine after a good night's sleep." Chow Shi was baffled by Chow Feng's actions. When she recalled how Chow Feng grabbed her leg and helped her take off her shoes, her cheeks burned even hotter. However, a handsome face appeared in Chow Shi's mind. It was Qin Feng's face. When she recalled the ambiguous scene that happened between her and Qin Feng on Devil Beast Mountain, Chow Shi's beautiful eyes were filled with disappointment. She admired Chow Feng, but she couldn't be with him because her body was touched by another man. She felt that it was unfair to Chow Feng. What an innocent and cute girl. After Qin Feng left Chow Shi's rented courtyard, he took out his cell phone and ordered takeout. It was fine for Qin Feng to skip dinner, but he couldn't let Chow Shi go hungry. Moreover, Chow Shi's stove was burned by Qin Feng. She couldn't cook even if she wanted to. After Qin Feng ordered the takeout, he went online and ordered a gas stove, a water heater, and other household appliances. He wrote Chow Shi's address on the address. When Qin Feng remembered that Chow Shi only wore a camisole in the winter, he quickly went to the clothing store and bought dozens of coats, sweaters, and undergarments. Only then was he satisfied. "Be big brother, save me. I beg you, please, save me." Just as Qin Feng placed his order and put away his cell phone, he saw a person lying on the ground in front of the alley. The person stretched out a bloody hand and begged for help.